What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 10 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Thorgrim Grudgebearer Old World campaign. So as we saw last time, we continue making advancements. We're advancing pretty much everywhere and making advancements as well as we tech up to new units and techs and all that. But anyway, Clan Na has been destroyed and our interior territories, at least until we inevitably get into a war with the Ironclaw mutinous boys, are safe. We have moved southward towards the Crooked Moon, and it looks like Skarsnik is already pretty much done, but not to worry, it looks like Clan Moor's right below or south of him, not below, so I should giggle. That's a match made in hell. Anyway, they're down there and we'll be fighting them instead. We do have a new Age of Reckoning up and running as well, so we're about to declare war on the Moon Howlers and Greenskins, and we have nearly wiped out the Demon Prince up north, which means as soon as we wipe him out and put these two armies together, swap out units, we'll be heading down to fight some Khornates. Grimbrindle versus Skarbrand, and then whoever this guy is for Grimly Quarrelseeker. Gotta sort of protect our northern territories by getting more unit or more friendly factions to control the chaos. So it's actually, speaking of, I believe last turn, yes, the sparring chamber was completed at the Forbidden Citadel, meaning now we should be able to trade the Tower of Karak for it. Tower of Karak for Forbidden Citadel, yes. Alrighty, I guess we don't really need them to join any wars. It would probably be advantageous for them not to be at war with the Demon Prince at the current time. We could take 3,000 of their gold. Is that a good idea right now? I don't know. On the one hand, maybe. You know what? We'll probably take the gold here because I figure we're going to be trading them a bunch of territories for free, and who knows, we might actually have to pay them to get Forbidden Citadel back if this Crow Brethren Roost thing doesn't pan out, which it might not, so let's do this. Trade settlement, Forbidden Citadel for the Tower of Karak, like so. Alright, and I hope I didn't forget to do anything there. Then we will obviously uncollect the income here. Public order not great, but it is what it is. Not going to pay to fix it, because we'll fix it by moving down here and killing all the Khornates around. And if they take it, we'll take it back from them. Next up, we need to get rid of all these territories, which we'll want to trade. I assume that we will suffer attrition here if we... Oh, we actually won't suffer attrition. This doesn't count as Chaos Waste because we're in Norse guy. Okay, meaning we can, well, I guess you don't need to heal, so you can leave here immediately. And then we'll trade the Monolith of Torgal to you. We're not going to ask for money. And just have it, like so. And Altar of Spawns, Aisling Conclave, Monolith of Valmir. Alright, Monolith of Torgal, Altar of Spawns is what, ooh, wait a moment. Forbidden Citadel? We can get it back immediately. That's not bad. Yeah, I like it, because we were going to take it back for Altar of Spawns. That works. Any reason not to do this right now? Well, if there is, it's too late, because I've done it. Alrighty, there we go. Boris, you can hopefully hold on to this. The Chaos Undivided Corruption is still not a thing you like, but hopefully he can counteract it. I really hopefully, because if it doesn't work out, then it'll be quite annoying. You know what, keep the sparring chamber here for now. It gives you 2 additional dwarf warriors in case we want to attack these guys. Grimbrindle, let's quickly grab this Remnants of Battle here and then move towards the Monolith of Flesh afterwards. We'll go for Arabian Arms for the Heavy Iron. Alright, that works. Like so. And we will move towards the Monolith of Flesh right after. You can... Actually, it doesn't really matter, since we're going to swap all these things to Boris Henry. Gorehunt Hall, Aisling Conclave, Monolith of Valmir. Aisling Conclave, like so. Gorehunt Hall, like so. And Monolith of Valmir, was it? Let me just double check in case I screwed that up. Yes, Monolith of Valmir. Like so. Alright, well, this guy's gonna like us after all this, at least I hope so. It's a lot of free territory. Granted, it isn't great territory being in the Chaos Waste, but Boris is okay with that sort of thing, so yeah, anyway. You can't go into any kind of stance, but you're just gonna head out and obliterate the Monolith of Flesh. No problem with your Iron Drakes. Also, is it me or is it a little bit... Is it weird that Grimbrindle buffs Iron Drakes and War Machines? Specifically, don't quote me on this, but I'm... let's say 80% sure that Iron Drakes didn't exist when Grimbrindle died, or when Snorri Whitebeard, whose ghost is Grimbrindle, when he died, Iron Drakes didn't exist. And frankly, buffing war machines, I'm pretty sure Gyrocopters didn't exist because he died before the War of the Beard. Iron Drakes didn't exist because Skaven didn't exist yet. Thunderbarges definitely didn't exist. Probably half of the stuff, or maybe 90% of Corralers existed, and, Grudge Throwers and Bolt Throwers and stuff existed, but Goblin Hewers definitely didn't. What I'm saying is that it seems to me, unless I'm mistaken, unless somebody that's super familiar specifically with Dwarf lore that has something to say on this matter, unless I'm mistaken here, he's buffing all the units that weren't around when he lived, which seems a little bit odd to me, but I guess they had to have somebody buff the Trollhammer Torps and such, but or the Iron Drakes and such. It just seems weird specifically for Grimbrindle. You know what I mean? Do I know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, so this is good now. This is Boris's territory. We've taken back the territory that we wanted down here. Got a little bit of money for us, which is good because we're going to need it next turn, as we will be upgrading Karaz-a-Karak to tier 4 and getting another deeps dug in, or well, I don't know why I said it like that. Anyway, Thorgrim, let's move you to attack Gorkil. Hello. I thought it was Queeky. It's all good. Alright, kill off Mr. Gork's Chosen here. Yeah, do it anyway. Yeah, okay, I figured that would happen, but that might be okay, because we got a pretty solid garrison at Karag Lhune. Look at that. What if we besiege this while damaged? Maybe these guys would be willing to sally out, especially considering that this won't work as a cinematic battle, so we'll give it a shot. Ooh, Potion of Healing, nice find, though. Thorgrim is going to keep his Potion of Speed, but let's give these guys a chance to sally out. Hopefully the rats don't immediately attack Karagol. Frankly, I would actually prefer it if... Oh, Skarsnik's back. Actually, he doesn't have a great defeat rate. That's the ambush defense and ambush success chance, right? Not really Thorgrim's thing, certainly not needed. But anyway, we'll waste a turn in the hopes that these guys sally out. I'm really hopeful that they do. Anyway, the rest of you, it is time. You, Joseph of Zorn, you will declare war on the Moonhowlers, who are currently at war with nobody. We'll call Boris to help. Oh, I got a little bit worried that Boris would say nope and break the alliance after we gave him all of that stuff. Yeah, that would have been unfortunate. You attack Grosdrung. I don't know whether we're going to bother fighting this because well, maybe. It's also not going to be cinematically possible, but we'll see what the auto-resolve says. You are going to jump here, and ooh, wait. We need to figure out what we want to trade and what we want to do with this. So these guys are going to go. I wanted to turn 2 of these Dwarf Warriors into Gyrocopters with Brimstone guns, because this is a fire army, but that would significantly reduce the amount of melee units that we have, I guess. But we gotta do it at some point. Yeah, do it. Alright, Gyrocopters with Brimstone guns, like so. Then one of these can be turned into a Gyro Bomber for Thorgrim. I think that's probably a good idea. Okay, wait, you just jump on in, Wait, all of these guys are going to this army except one Master Engineer, and I don't remember which one it is. Hopefully we can see their names. It is Grunny Morgrimel that's not supposed to be in this army. Okay, you go here. And can we see Grunny Morgrimel? Yes, okay, so everybody but Grunny. All into this army. Then we'll need to lose all of these miners, which were just in here temporarily anyway. Neither of the Dwarf Warriors are supposed to be in this army, and technically speaking, we are only supposed to have the 3 miners with blasting charges, so we'll do this. Like so. This slot is supposed to be filled by another Iron Drake, which I guess we could do right now, and yes, it's expensive, and yes, we need the money, and... too bad. Like so. I guess we could keep the 1 Grudge Thrower in here. Wait, ooh, wait, would we need to... Yeah, we need to put points in Tactician to actually get the most mileage out of it, but it does do explosive sort of shots, which is kind of nice. It's explosive and it's fire damage as well, plus it applies burnt for fire weakness. Which, granted, we have other sources of, but actually we have a lot more sources of flammable than burnt, so, you know, it does have value. I'll have to think about it. Wait, was there anything else that we need to put in this army? This is kind of less Iron Drakes than I was hoping, but there isn't really anything that we'd want to remove. Then again, relying on too many Iron Drakes might be... I mean, we've been seeing a lot of Iron Drake action throughout this campaign, and maybe it's time for the Thunderers with Drake guns to shine a little bit more. That ain't too bad a thing either. Anyway, all of y'all, you're gonna move in here, and you're gonna move in here. Let's see what this says about the auto-resolve.
Attack!
And Pyrrhic Victory. Okay, it does not want to do that. Oh, that's annoying, but it is what it is. Alright, we'll deal with that in a bit. Let us also move you, Morgus Death Dealer, in. Oh, maybe this is a good time to name some units. Oh, I forgot to name units last time. Yeah, you know what, let's do a little round of naming, and then we'll pop on and... Oh, right, I was supposed to get you the Regiment of Renowned Rangers, which is why you have 19 units. Okay, well, first of all, Goblin Hewers are definitely sticking around. Let's at least name one axe delivery system. Alright. Well, let's name some of the Rangers as well. I'm probably not going to name the Miners in this particular army, but yeah, that's fine. Alright, Rangers, let's go Thirsty Axes. That's one. And Rat Catchers, though they're going to be catching some greenskins now. Manual Goblin Hewers, fantastic. Alright, and let's ask you a question. And we'll hold off on naming these two. I'm pretty sure we'll keep them in this army, but who knows? It depends on what other things we pop into this army. And you know what? While we're doing some naming, let's add a few more, shall we? Old Sootbeards are already in here. We can add... Need a light question marks don't work, but it's all good. Just pretend that it's there. And the Miners of Blasting Charges, Ekrund Miners, you shall become now... Okay, where's my list of Miners with Blasting Charges here? Minor Inconveniences. Alright. And this is really saving time in the sense that I forgot to name any of the last episodes, so it's better to do some right now. Stoned Masons and how about Route Clearance Team? Might eventually end up evolving these guys into Iron Breakers, but might just keep them as Miners. It's fine either way, and I don't want to, you know, go overly reliant on too many Miners or anything like that. Anyway, let's do some fighting. We'll do some more names later. Want to see those Goblin Hewers and Manual Goblin Hewers in action, and let's get to it, or let's go. Yeah. Alrighty, vengeance indeed. Straight to the point. Here we go. We got a nice little fight ahead of us for our sort of Axe Storm army, and we'll see how well they do here. Gonna start off with going after this tier 3 tower, which is camera. Stop. Which is already doing some damage to one of our units of Axe You a question. Our Rangers with throwing axes. They're gonna start axing those gobos first. And of course, we'll need to block them off a little bit, so we'll charge on in with some of those Miners to take a few shots while we chuck a few axes via our Goblin Hewers at them, as well as the enemy enemy platform. And there we go. Fortunately, quite easy to chuck axes over the heads of the Miners, no problem at all. And the units of the Boar Boys, at least, are probably having a somewhat bad day here. And there we go. Damage is decent, though the Boar Boys will probably block off at least some of those shots, and we're already starting to run out of ammunition on our Goblin Hewers. But that's to be expected. These things barely have any ammunition whatsoever, when we're gonna need at least 2 engineers in this army to... Oh, I love watching all those axes fly. Gonna need at least 2 engineers in this army to bump up those stocks of ammunition. Now, I gotta double check. Do the Demon Slayers increase... do they increase the amount of ammunition on Slayer units? Or do they only buff their various other stats? I guess we'll see. Anyway, looks like the Axe Storm is doing pretty okay. The Orc boys are heavily damaged. Of course, we, I'm sure, have killed a few of our own by dropping axes on there and, well, thunking axes into the backs of their heads. But, well, what can you do? Platform on its way out, and our other units are moving on in as well. As obviously that was only about half of our number. And we've got plenty more boar boys to chuck axes at, so let's get started on that. Come on, guys. There we go. And let fly. It looks like they're going to continue being distracted by the miners, which is going to work out decently well for us because we can continue chucking those axes rather than force our rangers into melee. Taking a little bit of damage on our goblin hewers via orc boys hitting us from the back, but that's alright. Fortunately, with a low amount of ammunition, we can expend our complement of axes relatively quickly, and then that'll allow us to move the artillery pieces, the Goblin Hewer Slayers, into actual combat. Which is a nice addition, and kind of like perhaps the idea of actually having them being able to do that, rather than solely acting as artillery pieces. Granted, these things are sort of better for knocking out big old single entities than they are against blobs like this, as in if a giant comes a call-in or an Arachnarok or something along those lines, then we send their axes their way. But since we don't have any of those in this particular army, we'll just keep on doing what we're doing. Alrighty, and tactically not much to say, just overrunning the enemy with both bodies and with axes. There we go. Ooh, I like watching them check those axes nearly point blank. And the enemy will move on in, and the great axes will come down, and the slayers that make up the crew will start fighting in melee as well, which is nice. We'll take a few hits to our own units, but it is what it is. Always going to have to be expected with this particular army, I think. Alrighty, how's that balance of power looking? About 60% in our favor at this point. This battle, or this choke point, this portion of the battlefield is ours. The enemy lord had also decided to run in, but we simply surrounded him with our single unit of Grudge Settler Slayers and our lord and hero, and then brought said lord down. Alright, how are we doing over on the left flank? Now, we do have this one Grudge Thrower in this army, which has managed to destroy a single unit of Orc Error Boys so far, after obliterating that tower, which is just fine by me. I'm gonna at least do some work, and we'll need to transfer that artillery piece into some other army, most likely. Although it would potentially give an extra little bit of range to this army, although I do feel the bolt throwers might work a little bit better in terms of, you know, chucking sharp things at enemies rather than, well, I guess lobbing rocks at enemies. Rocks could be jagged. It could be a jagged rock lobber. We'll just shape those rocks into giant axes. If it works, it works. Anyway, some orc biggins running around just below this little plateau here and get obliterated by that axe throw. Of course, we don't have a lot of range on these guys, and which is why I was contemplating having an overseer lead this army instead. I'm almost tempted to make two versions of this army, slightly different from each other and slightly similar, just to see the difference in performance when commanded by an overseer. 50% range is a pretty big deal. Anyway, our goblin hewers have run out of ammunition at this point, and that means they can enter the fray and just fight together with some of the Grudge Settler Slayers. There we go. Surprising number of Slayers in this army after we've expended all of our ammunition, which ain't too bad of a thing. Plus, the Goblin Hewers do still apply bleed and melee. And just out of curiosity, where the regular Grudge Settler Slayers, they have Cavalry Bane and not bleed, which means in a protracted fight, it might be that the Goblin Hewer Slayers, due to that bleed application, might be able to dish out a bit more damage. At least potentially. There are, of course, only 40 of them in the unit, and they're going to be more fragile and less direct damage dealing, but bleed is a pretty high value as far as contact effects go. Twice as much damage as a lethal poison, for example. Alrighty, well, that unit has been destroyed, hacked apart by our Slayers. The bounce power is shifting further in our favor at 70%. We're going to head the blob of Slayers with 3 Rangers in tow towards the enemy's key settlement. Plus the Goblin Rock Lobber over there, while we move some more Rangers out into the center of the enemy settlement, where a few enemy units still remain. Not for long, however, they keep taking those jagged rocks from our Rock Lobber. And we keep trying to chase them down with more of those Rangers. There we go. Looks like they're going to attempt to fire back on this bridge, but we'll see how many... camera's always wonky on these bridges. We'll see how many of these axes they can take before they decide that they want no part of this. Frankly, it might be better to actually charge these guys into melee against archer units. I think I've mused about this before. But again, Orc Hero boys are pretty okay in terms of their melee attack at being 40, so they're actually about even with our own units. Well, they're all gone now, so it hardly matters, and it looks like they didn't get too many shots off. Alright, looks nice. Yeah, and another thing is that the Thanes are able to give... they're able to give snipe to Rangers, and I'm thinking if we want to actually make use of Rangers with throwing axes with snipe, the additional range will actually be necessary, as at their current low range, they'll probably never be able to actually make use of snipe because they have to get too close to an enemy in order to actually chuck those axes at them. Certainly something to think about. But at the end of the day, we don't yet have another Overseer Lord, so it might be better to have a Slayer command this army right now. Anyway, with that, the enemy army shatters and the battle's ours. A little bit of damage on our miners and some of our Slayer units, but they got plenty of kills and did pretty darn well here. Good job. Alright, that was pretty darn fun, and you know, I'm kind of starting to maybe like the idea of using the Goblin Hewers in this army as a sort of a pseudo-melee force, meaning, maybe this will be a Slayer-focused army after all, because I figure in Ungrim's army, he's going to have the sort of fighty Slayer... Well, okay, all Slayers are fighty Slayers, but more melee-focused, with the Doomseekers and all the other different Slayer types just running into melee, not really relying on the piles of range units. I feel like we'd get more mileage out of the Goblin Hewers functioning as they're supposed to in this particular army, where they turn into melee units after firing off their shots, and they would be less useful in that regard in Ungrim's army because they'd just be getting in the way of the actual melee Slayers. Which kind of answers the question as to whether we use Mr. Morgus Death Dealer here, and... which case we don't. We're going to have him command another army. You can occupy this. Command another army, and instead we can use what's-his-face to command this army. And this guy, Snorri Morgrimmel, with that Defiant trait. No buffs for the additional... well, no additional buffs for the Slayer Pirates, but... you know, the Goblin Hewers will get a significant buff, and we can even pop a few more Goblin Hewers in that army, because they keep battles pretty interesting by virtue of being sort of dual-type units, you know what I mean? Honestly, we could even throw a couple of Slayer Pirates in here to add them as support, although I figure we'd mostly be using Slayer Pirates and maybe a couple Goblin Hewers in Malachi's force. Yeah. Even if we reuse the same units in different armies, I want different armies to function differently, regardless of the units they use, you know what I mean? They need to play differently, which is generally the way that I like to design my armies. Anyway, for now, Finn Arcandriskel's son, I was going to potentially have you lead that army, but now I think perhaps we can make you lead Thunderer Force instead. Although, on the other hand, do we... okay, wait, we'll have to figure this out in a bit. Because the Thunderer army, I was going to actually send up north because all of that armor-piercing damage would be pretty fantastic against Chaos, generally speaking. And there is a lot of Chaos around here. Although, on the other hand, I suppose once we've cleared these guys out, it'll be Skaven and Hellpit and then Greenskins and around Troll Country. Norskins to the... well, we'll need a third army here. Grimbrindle and Grimly aren't enough, in the sense that there's just too much territory for only 2 armies to cover. I'm gonna have to figure that one out. Lots of stuff to figure out. Go figure. Anyway, let's see who else needs to move. There's probably fighting to do. Well, we'll have to actually fight this. There's medium casualties. And of course it'll kill off the Grudge Settlers Slayers. But I wanted to fight this one anyway, so that's fine. And we'll do that in a sec. I just want to see what else we've got in terms of this turn. Rear guard. Okay, no, we don't need to do anything about the rear guards. Brawnhammer Fist, you're fine as you are until we get your army up and running. You may just act as a ferry for a little while. Scout Silverhorn. Ooh, yes, this is important. Move out here. Well, let's find us some Imperials. And hello, Bokbok. Oh, Bokbok the Lethal's down here. Hey, Bokbok. Love you, little guy. Hopefully he doesn't declare war on us now and start moving towards Karaz-a-Karak. He can't take Karaz-a-Karak itself, obviously, because ridiculous. But all of these other locations where we've got the deeps down, that is a different story. And he's currently looking like he's overrunning Karak. Anyway, yes, Elspeth, thank you. Trade agreement. Do we just go straight into military alliance? You know what? We're going to be allied with the military alliance. I want vision of the other Imperial factions. We want trade. There we go. Oh, wow, Elspeth, you're doing pretty good. I love it. All right. I guess we don't have to save the manlings. In fact, Elspeth has nearly as... Oh, she has more settlements than Reichland, but her armies have, by the looks, have been destroyed. Speaking of Reichland, trade agreement, yes. We could do non-aggression pact, take their money, and then immediately do defensive alliance. Yeah, I'll do it.
Affirmative.
Free cash and all that. Sorry, Imperials, but tribute to the High King, so we've started to say. All right, you know what? Let's go to quick deal. Let's see what we're looking at here. Bugman's Brewery is around. We're definitely going to trade with Bugman's. And we don't need the alliances or anything like that, and we'll take all their cash because, you know, tribute to the High King. Ooh, do we have a special location there? Oh, I wonder. Oh, we do. Oh, what does this do for us? Wait. And the AI didn't build it. Of course it didn't. Let's see, we got 100 kegs of Dwarfen beer, upkeep production faction-wide for Ranger units. This will definitely be needed for Belagar's army. Well, the Dwarf beer production alone is pretty solid. Yeah, I gotta make sure that we get this for us. We gotta, reclaim the realms and all that, especially these realms. I mean, well, actually, yeah, Karak owned by the Wood Elves. You shouldn't be doing that, guys. You're gonna regret it. Anyway, let's see what else we got here. Karak Ziflin and Karak Azur, Westerland. Okay, let's do some alliances, like so. More cash for us, yes. Tribute to the High King, everybody. What else do we got here? Paravon. They are enemies of the Skaven. We don't need to trade with them, I think. Ooh, Ice Court. Hello. What do we have here as options? Defensive alliance? No, straight military alliance. And trade agreement. Beautiful. Alrighty. We want all these factions occupying the lowlands. The military alliances all over the place will probably draw us into like a dozen wars over the course of the campaign, but, you know, not much we can do about it. Daughters of the Forest, the Stank. I'm a little bit concerned that you're kind of in the mountains here. And if she's holding on to Dwarfen territory, you know what, I'm going to hold off on that one. That's a little iffy. It's a little iffy. Let's see, what do we have here? Westerland, 6 territories. It's all right. Ziflin we could probably get some money out of and trade agreement out of, I guess. You know what, forego the trade agreement. We'll do it with another faction. This will also give us 2.4k as well. Don't need to confederate them because it's a huge debuff, at least not right now. Clan Durazgrund. You are in the mountains here, yeah, sure. Let's do... 2.4k. Yeah, let's do the trade agreement with you. Alright, a little bit more money generation over the course of the next few turns. Alright, Paravon. We could either have 3.4k or do the... just do the trade agreement. It's a decent amount of cash, but the trade will also pay for itself. Alright, anybody else? Defensive alliances. Western provinces soon. I know. Guys, I know. Just trust me. It's just a bad idea to do it until we have a force to actually wipe Kairos out, because he's such a frickin' hassle to deal with. At least we'll give the enemies a taste of our own medicine, since it looks like Kairos is, by the looks of it, going to obliterate the Changeling in terms of our community vote. For the Zinj campaign, I want to do another trade agreement, but it looks like nobody else. I wanted to actually ally with the main Bretonnian faction. Maybe I should have done the defensive alliance with the Paravant. Have we not been able to identify Bordelot Errant? No diplomatic contact, no. We'll need somebody in Bretonnia then. Alright, fair enough. Decent little bit of extra trade, meaning we are looking to now start investing in the trade goods, whether the buildings or the, well, via various means. Oh, pretty good. And we got a decent amount of cash as well, which we may actually want to put to use in a few seconds, or before we end the turn. Alright, Gruzdrung we will need to fight manually. Well, I guess we could spread apart the manual battles and the non-manual battles, so let's do this. It'll mostly be just bombardment of the enemy settlement, unfortunately, but it is what it is, so let's do it quickly. We'll try the Drake guns out in a proper fight when we run into a proper fight, which should be pretty soon, because last time we checked this particular faction, the Moonhowlers, was actually quite strong, which is a good sign. Alrighty, and once again, do we need to adjust anything about this army? I'll think about it. Frankly, I think it looks okay. At least for now. We could always do multiple different types of fire armies that focus on different things, but frankly, once again, while the fire units are probably the most entertaining units of the... I mean, frankly, the Dwarfs have a lot of entertaining units, but the fire units are really entertaining, you gotta admit. But they've been having a ton of screen time. Also, how do the Drake guns look? Do they just look like regular Thunderers, more or less? Alright, well, I'm excited to see how they function. Alright, you guys gonna go here, and your range is looking pretty good, with the Guildmaster buffing y'all up. Frankly, the formation probably doesn't matter over much, at least not right now, but, you know, we'll still form up as needed. Alright, you guys go here, you guys go here. Most of this is going to be bombardment anyway, but you're going to have to sit here and take a few shots, most likely. You guys are going to move here. We are going to get the fire damage increasing, whatever, the engineers here and here. Do you want to be out front? Go out front, whatever, I don't care. Alright, and then you guys can be with him. Then we got the two Iron Drakes units. I really doubt that the enemy's going to sally out, but it... on rare occasions does happen, so it's better to, you know, be prepared. Alright, and then I'm gonna turn off skirmish mode from all y'all. Like so. You guys, you're gonna want to move in on this side. What do you have coming in? Oh, right, you got a fair bit. Alright, the rest of you, I would like to... You need to do anything else? I think we're okay. Alright. You fire at this, you fire at this, you fire at this. You guys, group one, you're gonna move on in. Let's speed this up a little bit. Damn, those are quick. Let's see, you guys go here and you guys go here. We'll breach the walls in a dozen places before moving on. And where are our dragons? I mean, gyrocopters. How much does the enemy have in terms of the... That looks okay. In terms of range units, probably not a lot. Alright. I also forget whether these guys can fire at fire while moving or not, like the other ones can. Well, either way, go work on some of those boar boys, if you would. And brimstone guns and all that. Alright, and towers are destroyed. Alright, you guys, breach the wall. Breach this wall, breach this wall. And you can breach this wall. Alright, ooh, you guys are all running in a blob. That's a ripe target for some bomb drops. Nice. And you can do the same. Alright, the brimstone guns without buffs in this particular army so far. We are mixing a lot of units, which unfortunately require different portions of the tree, but it is what it is. All in the name of fun and all that. Alright, I assume that the walls have been breached. Okay, they have in two places. Okay, yeah, you're very slow, Grudge Thrower. Alrighty, and... oh, an actual range unit. Good for you. Alright, you guys keep hovering over here. Let's breach one more place in the wall, and then let's start moving forward. You guys. Oh, like so. Alright, and artillery. I think I'd like you to move forward as well. Actually, fire on the enemy over there, and brimstone guns keep on sniping this guy. You're not going to be as effective as a whatchamacallit, grudge thrower, but good enough. Or grudge settler gyrocopter with the troll hammer torps. Good enough nonetheless. And that lord will be dead shortly. And yeah, this is why I was looking to kind of possibly auto-resolve this army, this battle rather. Because, yeah, these guys are not a threat. Alrighty, you guys just stay back here. You're probably not going to be needed. We might send a few of the heroes in with the single entities if we actually need to do so. Kill off that guy, please. Good. Alright, then you can back away. Our artillery... not really able to fire, right? Really? You can't range this? Or do you... is this one of those situations where they refuse to do anything unless they're directly told to do it? Yeah, it kind of seems to be the case. Alright, fair enough. Do this, and then you guys move on in. I really want to see what those Drake guns actually function like. Let's speed this up a little bit. Alright, and artillery, you're not moving anywhere. Everybody moving forward. Will the Drake guns fire? Yeah, they will. They're like, wait, no, they won't. Nah, they're just out of range. Alright, fine. Alright, we need to take a position within the enemy settlements, so let's start moving in. Like so. Mouse was refusing to click in the way that I wanted it to, but that's all good. Alright, artillery is still firing away this time? Yeah. Alright. I'll speed this up again in a little bit. Everybody else move forward, move forward. Let's get these super fire-resistant dwarf warriors in here. And there we go. Drake guns are firing away. Oh, they look like blunderbusses. Neat. I never got the chance to use them last time I played Dwarfs. Well, I guess last time I played was in vanilla and not in SF. Okay, all of you fire on this, all of you fire on this. Alright, everybody else is in. You know what? I'm gonna make you guys a group 2. Attack all of this. Alright, Drake guns. I would like for you to go up on that wall. And I would like the other units to follow suit, the other range units. And, ooh, we've got a unit of Black Orcs here. Maybe they warrant a nice Rune of Wrath and Rune. Okay, I can't even see their main blob anymore. Alright, that's fine. It'll be fine. Everything's gonna be fine. You guys pop the Rune of Oath and Steel. Alright, you guys are in here. Get those blunderbusses firing. And you guys, get ready to go up on the wall and do the same. We get another one in. And slowly but surely move on in. Anybody? Oh, hello. We got enemy range units firing on us. Let's fire on you. Fire back. You guys fire on this. Alright, you guys. I'd like you to move on and go after those boar boys or really anything you want. Not like we have a dearth of targets here. Alright, group 2. Go after that unit of orc boys. How's our unit of warriors of Dragonfire Pass? They're looking pretty okay. You, Drake guns up here. Alright, we should get these guys in, but we need to clear some space first. You know what, you go after that gate. Should stop you guys chucking those blasting charges before you kill too many of our own units. Although at least the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass are so fire resistant that it's unlikely to be the case. Anyway, you guys go after that unit of Orc Biggins. Let's keep on repositioning. Fire units, well, fire, as you do. And as one does. And you guys keep going after those boar boys. Alright. And just keep on moving. And once again, the reason I'm doing this like this is because it's the enemy built a building that prevents us from making this a normal cinematic battle. So we gotta fight it like this. So on occasion, some people do enjoy these, considering they're pretty few and far between compared to the regular battles. Hopefully nobody minds. Anyway. Not like I can do anything about it, even if somebody did mind. Let's restock you, and let's restock you while we're at it before we do anything else. So you guys... Huh, can you climb up here? Just out of curiosity? Probably a better position for the Iron Drakes, but we can put the Iron Drakes up here. And we got more Drake guns coming. Let's get you up here. Let's get you... the non-range units here. And, you know, I probably should have separated the engineers, like the range sort of heroes and the non-range sort of heroes. 3. And then you should be part of 2. There we go. Alright, you guys all go here. And fire away at whatever you can. Frankly, I think the battle is just about ours anyway. Alright. Don't know how effective the Drake guns were from just this, but I'll be interested to see in the future. They do look nice when they're firing. And it's all fire damage. Oh! I thought the enemy army had broken, but not even. Alright, fine. Group 2, move on in. Let's get more range units in here, why not? Alright, miners in, miners in. Do we have any more? Or was that all the Drake guns? I think that's most of them. Alright, fine. Keep proceeding. And then you can retake your position here. And that'll make it easier for you to fire upon the enemy. As one does. Alrighty, anybody left? Okay, don't get attacked by the air boys. Alright, I don't think they can come down here, so we'll just have to deal with this. Or they'll just have to deal with this. You guys fire on that blocker barricade, and let's move some miners out in front. Out here, looks like the enemy has more or less been cleared. Let's move towards those orc arrow boys, maybe explode them with a nice rune as needed. Artillery piece, you still have ammunition left. You're just not really firing on anything, eh? Okay. Okay, I would really like you guys to not fire on our own units. Just be careful doing that, please. That is very dangerous. That is so dangerous. Do these guys have any fire resistance on them? 30%. No, they don't. They start with 0, the Drake fire guns. That's a little bit surprising. I would have thought that they had some. The 30% is coming from the lord that commands them, not from any normal amount that they have. Alright, anyway. You guys keep moving up. Keep moving up. Let's get one of the Drake gun units to travel with you as well, and let's get the ranged heroes up in there as well. Alright, you guys turn around. How we doing? A little bit of damage in the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, but really nothing to be concerned about. I'm actually quite shocked that this enemy army has not yet shattered. Probably only a little more time until they do, though. Alright, you guys want to chuck a few of those blasting charges their way? Over the hill. And throw. Beautiful. The flames and the explosions. Alright, the army is coming together. I can't wait to see them in a proper field battle with all this working together. Look at the walls spewing flames at the enemies below. It's a beautiful sight. Alright, and I build a fire army in every single campaign I do, and this is really working for me. The dwarves certainly enable a lot of fire play, and it's just fantastic. Alright, you guys keep moving. And, okay, is this... Oh, it's a barricade. Okay, do we have any more bombs left? We do. Alright, you want to go cover over them and then drop a few bombs in their faces? Like so. And then do it again. And then kill those units off. You guys can all move in and kill them off. You guys can move in and kill off this... Ah, look at that. They're fighting. Isn't that cute? Pop a... Is this a big unit? Yes, it's a big unit, meaning we want to overcast the rune. And like so. Or maybe start backing these guys off as well now. They're starting to take damage. They've only lost 20 units, mind, so it's not a lot, but... I mean, why bother? And we could overcast another rune if we wanted to. Why not? Alrighty, and that unit is done. These guys are still fighting. You know what, let's restock real quick our ammunition. Engineer 1, Engineer 2. Oh, it's so nice for the fire army to actually have engineers now. If we wanted to, we could also restock the flame cannons, but there isn't any need because the battle is done. The day is won, and the enemy is shattered. And this dwarf hold is reclaimed. Anything we need to do? No. Lovely. Alright, and then obviously the next battle we'll do cinematically, because, well, we'll have a choice, unlike this one. Alright, 16 units destroyed, and that was all from the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass. Should that have been auto-resolvable, perhaps? But I think it will eventually be once this army has enough red line buffs and stuff to take advantage of it, so... We're on the way. I do like the mix of units that we've got going in this army, too. Alright, let's see if that gives us any money. I'm not sure that it does, but... Alright, come on now. There we are. Alright, decisive victory and occupy the place. Yeah, not really. Another stonemason though, gambler's armor will come in handy, as will the dawnstone, but you don't need them right now because you're not a real lord. Ooh, teller of tales, yes please. Every single one of these guys that gives us corruption reduction is great right now because we're building those mines everywhere, which give us additional corruption. We don't really need that in our main territory, but we gotta remember to swap those into other places. You guys, I'm gonna fight as well. Finn, oh right, we reset you. Yes, alright, so you are definitely going to max out Spyglass into Master Rune of Immolation because, well, just in case. Inspiring Presence into Root Marcher. And I guess since we're going to make you the leader of our Thunder army, I guess you might as well get Thunderer. Thunderers, regular Thunderers, and the Grim Delvers, and the Grudge Rakers, and then Cannons and Organ Guns. That'll be fun. That'll be gun. Anyway, we could get the one. Well, let's get 1 point in here. Just get Warmatic and get the bonus range for you. And I think we'll hold off on the last 2 points depending on what we want to do with you later. Just wanted to get them for this fight, which we'll do cinematically this time. Go. Alrighty, here we go. The Goblobber and the stone with your name are... Oh, right, you're named one. Huh. Okay, I gotta remember that. I was going to transform you into a cannon. I guess I'll just transfer the name to another. Anyway, the rock lobbers are going to continue lobbing those rocks at the enemy while said enemy decides or starts approaching us. The deciding factor in this particular battle will be whether our Grudge Settler army's reinforcements will make it onto the field before these guys overrun the tiny amount of units that we currently have with Finn, our Candraskelson. Although the guy has done great work for us already in this campaign, and to be frank, he is trustworthy to hold the line until the reinforcements get here. Anyway, the rocks continue smashing into the enemy lines, targeting 2 units of Orc Biggins, as they're going to be the biggest threat in this particular army, other than perhaps the Boar Boys and Trolls, but chucking those rocks at those guys rather, would probably not do too much. Probably could have popped off a Rune of Burning, or whichever rune buffs those artillery pieces to help out with this, but it's all good. Or at least I hope it's all good. We've got 26 seconds until, yeah, our reinforcements are going to get here on time, which means it is, in fact, all good. Everybody will be there together. Anyway, the enemy will continue to approach. And it looks like we might be able to actually see off both of those units of Biggins before they actually make any kind of impact in this particular army. They're feeling plenty of impact themselves, however. Like so. Alrighty, and there we go. Our reinforcements have arrived on the field, and now the enemy has no hopes of breaching our line, which otherwise would have just been piles of the Quarrelers to act as melee units. And granted, that's still probably going to be the case for, well, Thoric at least. Grimly is a Longbeard and Quarreler-focused army, so a little bit different, I think. Alright, and here they come. Time for the Quarrelers to get to work a little bit. Usually Quarrelers are the stars of the show for early game Dwarfen campaigns. It hasn't really been the case here in this particular run. But I kind of like that and appreciate that because it keeps it a little bit different. Rather than relying on the Quarrelers, which can be a little bit boring if insanely effective. Quarrelers are fantastic units for their cost. Anyway, the Boar Boys reach our lines just as our Grudge Settler army arrives, and the Hammerers move in. One of the Hammerers goes flying way, way back, but the rest are fine. I'm going to start bonking those Boar Boys apart. And it looks like the Boar Boys really don't want to get into a protracted fight with Hammerers, but alas, there's more Hammerers where that came from moving in. We've also got our Flame Cannon that is in this particular Grudge Settler army, firing away at the enemy range units to make sure that they can't pincushion our Hammerers. Troll unit moves in, and this is the unit most likely to both dish out damage to us and rack up some kills, so we're going to do our best to hammer away at them, apply our lords and heroes to them, and get the quarrelers to focus the trolls down as well. Whereas the orcs and the gobos are a lot less concerning. They just don't have the armor piercing necessary to get through those hammers, especially since we were able to knock out those units of biggins with our artillery before the enemy were able to close. Works for me. Alright, it's a good old-fashioned melee brawl down here, but of course well, the enemy stands no chance against this Grudge Settler army. Of course, we do need to reduce casualties, and thus can't auto-resolve this type of thing. At least for now. I believe there is one more tech that we can get, which will get another 5 units of Grudge Settlers to complete or max out the Grudge Settler armies. Hopefully before, well, we'll see how long it takes to get there. Frankly, we still need more engineer capacity. We haven't stolen any tech so far, so we're getting techs going at a rather slow rate, unfortunately. It is what it is, though. Anyway, the balance of power is 90% in our favor at this point. The enemy has been bonked apart by this huge pile of hammers. I even forget how many hammers we have in here, but it's like 8 or something. It's a pretty ridiculous number. But considering Thorgrim buffs them, kind of appropriate that his Grudge Settlers have so many. Frankly, now that I think about it, maybe there should be a adjustment to the way that Grudge Settler armies work in such a way that certain units are favored for certain factions. For example, Thorak's Grudge Settler armies would have like an, I don't know, a significantly increased chance of getting Quarrelers and Stone Throwers, or Grudge Throwers, and Thorgrim's would get Hammerers, etc., etc. On the other hand, while that does make sense, I do like the variety that these armies offer, so no, never mind. Nobody listen to me. It's a good idea in theory, but in practice, I think it's a bad idea because it reduces variety, and variety is always fun. Spice of life and all that. Alright, there we go. Not too bad. I think we got about 10 losses to the enemy army. Wait, 5, 10, 12, 13, 18. Okay, and then the other 6 were to our own flame cannons. Well, at least the flame cannons didn't kill more of our own than the enemy did, so that's just fine. Alright, and we are going to occupy the place for obvious reasons. And East Death Pass is secured. We don't need this. We can keep the gold mine, however, and we will obviously switch you to Masters of Steel and Stone, and then we should be able to upgrade you pretty shortly as well. Nice. Alright, now I do imagine that these guys do actually have armies running around somewhere, so we do have to be concerned about that. We are also going to have to recruit you an army, which we're going to have to do so shortly. Since we've made the somewhat... since we made the decision that you will be a Slayer-ish army, Slayer and Ranger army, then I guess we'll move you in. Ooh, it'll be unfortunate to lose out on the Craven by Name trait, as the speed is nice on the Rangers as well. Puts them up to 47 speed. Not as fast as Grimbrindle's dudes, because he's got the, he's got plus 40% speed to them, but still pretty solid. Oh, plus 50 he can't, because he has the trait too. But still. If we use sufficient Slayers, we should buff the Slayers. Anyway, Thorgrim, rather. I forget now. Okay, it was this turn that we besieged stuff, eh? Yeah, alright. Might as well name a couple of units in your army as well. We got Kneecap Breakers here, Hammers. You can be, how about Sons of Jarajgrund? And Everguard with Shields, and okay, I haven't named either of you. Let's name one of you. How about Mountain Breakers? Like so. And Gyrocopters. Oh, right, we got 2 of these guys in this particular army now. You can be... How about... Thagaraki... Misspelled that. Thagaraki Uskul. And the Gyro Bomber. It's... Finally, it won't bother me that it says gyro bombers rather than gyro bomber. Thorgrim's thundercloud. There we go. Had to get a few more of those in there. Now, you're good. Did anybody else need to move? I think that was it now. It was a heck of a lot of stuff to do, but that was always expected since we began a new war and we were looking to move in and attack enemies. Anyway, you guys, yeah, just keep leveling. Soon you'll be able to be upgraded into Dwarf Warriors and then into whatever we please as soon as we train them up. All right, now let's take a look at some of our settlements for investment. West Darklands is doing pretty good. It's generating 3,000 gold, a third as much as our main territory, but that's still pretty solid, at least with the High King's Tribute, which admittedly our main territory is also using. I would like to upgrade the Cool here, but we'll need to swap out the Masters of Steel and Stone. We don't want to do that this turn because our main territory is already doing that. You're generating public order. Oh, okay. You can switch to Masters of Steel and Stone for next turn because we want to build a mine here and then upgrade the gems here and probably one of these guys. Probably the Urkul as well. East Mad Dog Pass, you are okay for now. Black Wastes. Yeah, we can upgrade some stuff here. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll keep the Ranger Outpost just for the additional sort of vision that it offers for now. And I think maybe we'll upgrade the Gore Hornets Hold first. Just because it'll give us more dies since we're trading more now. And then that's all going to take several oh wow, we can actually upgrade 2 of these things. Lots and lots of dies, I guess. Alright, but that's still going to take several turns, so we can now, at least for a time, switch you to High King's Tribute to generate more cash. Black Crag, new territory. We were looking to build the deeps here with... it's still very expensive, but it is what it is. We could wait until this is complete. Wait, we got 3 more turns. It's not like Thorgrim is going to probably come back here anytime soon. We still do need to build it, but it isn't critical that we build it here now, because it's not going to generate a ton of money for us right now anyway. We could build also the construction market, but right now it's also probably a waste of our time. I think we do want to get the next level of our cool just for the control bonuses, and we'll also bump up both of the Gorl mines as well. Alright, nice little bit of investment. Dreadrock Gap and Mount Silver Spear. I mean, we could upgrade you just for the additional money out of the gold mine. It's additional oath gold per turn, which is another good reason to do it. 4K and... okay, yeah, fine, do it. Do it. You might as well invest into stuff. And then I guess we will switch you... oh, wow, you are not growing at all. You just very slowly grew to this height. But for now, I think, once again... well... you want to venerate the ancestors. Well, actually, no, we're going to do a quest battle soon, so we'll go for High King's Tribute for here. Tusked Sun's Hold. Okay, we're at tier 2. Oh, darn, now we don't have enough money to upgrade the Tusk compound, which I wanted to do. Oh, well, we can wait on it. It's not going to be a huge deal. Just a minor annoyance. I guess we could build the first level Scrat Mine. Gives us an excuse/reason to maintain Masters of Steel and Stone. Alrighty, I believe that's it. I assume there's no additional things to do here, though some of those alliances do tempt me. Oh, wait, actually, Karak. No, we need to identify if there are any dwarfs that are still around anywhere here, because they'll give us vision of Bretonia and thus alliances with the Bretonians. But I guess it'll be a bit. So, skip building upgrade, and that's another end turn, isn't it? Can we get attacked anywhere? Possibly. Thorgrim might get attacked. Let's find out. Hey, they will indeed attack us. I am so happy. Well done, Crooked Moon. And the reason I'm very happy about this is because we went out of our way to auto-resolve the little rebel faction here in the hopes that these guys, seeing that our army is damaged, would sally out and attack us. Very happy. Go. Wait. Before we go, the engagement threshold reached. A longer episode today, and longer episodes will continue at 400 likes and 60 comments for the next episode. Go. Alrighty, I like that trait that seems to be shared by all the dwarf lords, regardless of whether it's a legendary lord or a regular generic one. They all seem to like to yell vengeance, and it's definitely one of the top tier dwarven speeches. Short and straight to the point. Anyway, here we go. We're going to start off by knocking out those artillery pieces. This time, since they're just goblin rock clobbers, we're not actually super concerned about them. We are more so concerned about actually wiping this army off the map. Obviously, since they're attacking us by sallying out, this means that if we kill every single unit before it manages to escape, that means we won't actually be wasting this particular turn. So we're gonna do our best to work on it. Fortunately, this army does not have I tried to say too much and too many at the same time and ended up with too many. And that's how we got that swovely thing that I tend to say a lot, swell and lovely. Same kind of deal. Is that Does that still count as a spoonerism? Am I just drunk all the time? Anyway, yeah, we gotta wipe out all the enemies. We're gonna try to work on it the best we can here. The artillery pieces are rather far back. We got an orc shaman here, which might actually be something of a threat with the gaze of Mork against the gyrocopters, and so we'll have them assassinate said orc shaman rather quick and then get back to whatever other units we can. We're actually going to ignore these artillery pieces and the range units and then start working on the enemy trolls and I guess the black orc big boss as well. Frankly, the black orc big boss doesn't really matter, but the trolls very much do, as they are very quick moving at 55 and our entire army, only Thorgrim can catch them. Oh, and yeah, speaking of, Thorgrim runs faster than trolls now. Gotta appreciate that. Anyway, looks like the gobos... Oh, wow, the Black Orc Big Boss just sort of hammering down at the ground with shield and with his axe, just infuriated at being unable to do anything to those gyrocopters flying around and shooting him in the back. Well, it's working out pretty great for us, not so great for the Black Orc Big Boss, which with a couple more shots will be brought down. Not that it was super critical to do so, as Thorgrim would have defeated him no problem in melee anyway, but it's a generic boss, and it was a generic boss. Now it's half of a generic boss. I wonder if just the Black Orc's legs cut off at the torso would be taller than a dwarf. But anyway, at least the big bosses. Trolls are on the menu next. I'm going to speed this up a little bit, though, and clearly we won't be destroying anywhere nearly, I don't know, even half of the enemy army, probably not even a quarter of the enemy army like this, and just a few critical units, which is fine by me, as the rest of our units will get to fight. The Black Orcs will lead the charge together with the Biggins, and we'll start facing off against our Everguard. Still, I really love the black shields that we've got on the Everguard. The black and gold looks pretty darn fantastic. And the black capes that they've got as well. And once again, it really makes the blue and red that they've got on their pauldrons and armor pop. And there we go. Like I said, despite the fact that we have those gyrocopters available to do plenty of damage, they're not really meant for wiping out droves of enemy non-single entities or blobs of enemy units, which means Thorgrim, Gotrek, Felix, Garagrim, and all the hammerers get to play as much as they want. And the Black Orcs make a pretty solid opponent for these guys, and actually likely to do damage. Plus, it'll take a little bit of a while for us to cut them down, and the Black Orcs have greater leadership, which means we can take advantage of that by hopefully killing off more of them, and thus less of them being able to run away. Since we're going to have a difficult time chasing, even with the amount of gyrocopters and bombers that we still have. At this point, the copters and bombers, speaking of, have been relegated to chasing duty. Any enemy unit that breaks is going to be their focus. That said, the battle's still ongoing. Looks like the Everguard with shields that are holding our left flank are the most surrounded. But actually in the best position to be so, because they are on the light portion of this particular map, and we can actually see them fighting nicely. And can continue to complement those lovely shields and capes and just general look of them. Yeah, probably in the maybe next episode, maybe the episode after that, we're going to recruit a couple more units of Everguard for Thorgrim. It really bothers me that he has 1 unit of shields and 1 unit of hammers. There needs to be 2 and 2. And depending on which lords do what kind of thing, we might do a Everguard sort of... King Azrael the Silver Hammer will definitely have hammers, so he's going to get at least 1 of the Everguard. And then maybe one of the legendary lords will get another, because I want 4 with Thorgrim. I don't want to go too heavy on it, because, you know, he'll have sufficient hammers anyway, and those single entities. And I always want his army to feel like it's being overwhelmed and overrun by enemies and actually work on these guys, which it's doing right now, and I'm pretty happy with. There we go. Plus, we get to see Gotrek and Felix just fight, generally speaking, just like Thorgrim. Once again, we do have a few too many heroes in this particular army right now. Don't worry, that's going to change. We're going to take probably 2 of them out, though we got to put another engineer in. I'll think about it. Exactly the way that we're going to do it. Anyway, as we can see, Thorgrim is also now chasing. A bunch of units are escaping, and it does necessitate peeling away some of our units. Thorgrim can chase by himself because he can repeatedly slow the enemy down, and with 55 speed and Strider, he's basically as fast as a Chaos Knight, which is pretty solid. He's basically as fast as a heavy cav. Slower than some like Reiksguard, but they're pretty fast, and they don't have Strider, which Thorgrim does, so he makes up for some of that. So 55 is actually tends to be quite a bit faster than 55 just because of Strider. And then combine that with Perfect Vigor or Vigorous or whatever, and the fact that he can slow enemies down with his skill ability. And at least for now, the Potion of Speed. And somebody in the comments a couple of episodes ago pointed out that there's a minor rune of speed, as in not as much as the current rune that he is using, so he could also bump up his speed even further. And then we'll see what other... Oh, and he'll get another 15% speed from when he levels up his red line. So, yeah, we should be able to get him at least to 70 speed, possibly higher if there are a few more methods we can think of. I don't know if he'll be able to get all the way down to Nakari, because Nakari is very, very far away, but that's another option. Anyway, we got a lot, and I mean a lot of chasing to do, looking to destroy every single unit. Well, we'll give it a shot, but we'll do it off screen. Alright, there we go. That battle took, well, frankly, a lot of work. The chasing of the enemy was quite a bit of an effort for me off-screen, but at the end of the day, it means that we don't actually end up wasting the turn, because the settlement garrison is destroyed, and thus the settlement is captured immediately. Despite the fact that the units of gyrocopters and bomber were on, well, not so much on field, but in the fight, actually fighting for like 3 times as long as the melee units, we can see that, well, the hammerers, especially the mountain breakers with 322 kills, matching these guys' kill counts and having pulped many a orc head over the course of that battle. Very nice to them, and of course for Thorgrim, who both fought and chased the enemies down. And that speed, once again, coming in very, very handy. Nice. Alrighty, we will capture the place and continue working our way through Karak 8 Peaks. Alright, ally begins outpost construction, great for ally, and lots of allies do that. Grudge Keeper for Thorgrim, good for you. Runesmith, Razor's Standard, nice find. Runesmith's Apprentice, another Stonemason, always comes in handy. Silver Tarn, now secured, and tier 3 as well, plus we generate quite a bit of cash out of the Silver Tarn, which will probably be a good location to have some deeps. Yes. Alrighty, anyway, you're gonna switch to Masters of Stone and Steel, and then Ironclaw Orcs and... Ooh, Black Venom. Oh, okay, no, Black Venom. Oh, I thought, well... Probably still not great for us. I guess they're up here, but I was thinking that they were the Ironclaw Mutinous boys, and then Gorbad would have been bordering us, which would have been bad right now, because we busy. Ambusher discovered Torox the Brass Bull. He's a little bit far from us for now, but, you know, that's not gonna last, probably. Earn 20 allegiance with any faction. Nice. Alright, how are we doing in terms of Ungrim? Still alive, still kicking. Good for you, Ungrim. Okay, first of all, we need upgrades. The Karaz-a-Karak Dwarf Hold, and then the Deeps. I just realized that by upgrading the Karaz-a-Karak Dwarf Hold, we can't immediately upgrade the Deeps. Well, me. Anyway, I guess we're gonna switch you back to High King's Tribute for now. I think it's better to upgrade this right now because we'll at least be able to get the Karaz-a-Karak airfield up and running. And we are starting to use more and more gyrocopters. Alright, ooh, any more rearguard lords available? Nolly, Rune Lord, Rune Master, Incisive, Defined Valea's Grace, which is good. And Docky, now we're fine. Alright, Thorgrim. I guess you're most likely moving out of this place, so you could probably... I wonder how much construction cost reduction you have. And oh wow, you can't actually reach these places in one turn? Huh, go figure. Is now the time to do a quest battle, and then to confederate. Judging by the comments of last episode, it seems the consensus is to confederate Thorek first, which is... Oh! Why do you guys have to mix your territories like this? Come on. Okay, we're gonna have to give him some Kairos' stuff, which kind of was the plan anyway. I really wish it wasn't second. What the heck are the Western provinces doing? What is this? What is this? Why are you building like this? You're not dwarfs. You're as much as you want to be. Yeah, this is what peak performance looks like. But anyway. Oh well, we'll deal with that in a bit. I kind of don't want to look at it because it's ugly. Anyway, let us see what we've got going on over here first of all. Grimly. Move to Monolith of Haka. And we'll move this other little army in because we have to move them together anyway. Sort of. March stance, I guess. Alright. And how are these guys doing? Well, the corruption is still higher than I'd like, but not much we can do about it. You're gonna go in, we're gonna auto-resolve, it's gonna damage us, but hopefully not so much that it's concerning. We'll occupy. And then we will... Do we want to leave immediately? I mean, I guess we can wait the turn. Yeah, don't collect income, we'll transfer it back next turn. Instead, Gromby, you're kind of in the same position. Go after the Monolith of Flesh, which is undefended. I guess the Demon Prince is not coming back. Not that we expected him to be back. Auto-resolve, and down they go, and you can occupy the place as well. Lovely, and with that, unless I'm mistaken, the Legion of Chaos has been destroyed, foolishly having declared war on us. Alright, you can... frankly, you don't heal that much here, so you can leave the settlement, and we'll just trade it also to... Because it's not a full province, maybe we shouldn't. Because they might not be able to... You know what? Fine. Stay here for the turn, we'll abandon it next turn rather than taking it. Better maybe that Shiotla takes this afterwards, I'd rather not... Oh, please don't send forces up here, you're at war with all the guys down here. Oh, I hope I didn't screw him over by doing this. Nervous laughter. Well, I guess we'll find out. For now, let's check quick deal, because we just got dies, but no dice. No dies. I'm so stupid. Daughters of the Forest. Yeah, we're still not willing to trade, though, so I'm gonna have to ignore you for now. Greater Orthodoxy. Defensive Alliance? Or even Military Alliance? We'll take it. Let's do Military Alliance. Frankly, I'd like the full Military Alliance with, Reichland, but they're not into it yet. But they will be. Or else. Anyway, Military Alliance with the Greater Orthodoxy, I guess. Hopefully they're not... Nope, they're friendly with the Ice Court. Good. I was worried about that for a second. But I do most definitely care for the potential... Oh, this identifies Sarthoriel the Everwatcher. I wonder if he has Tzeentchian abilities similar to Kairos. We should maybe declare war on him directly, just so that he can't annoy us in that manner. Alright, Central Confederacy wants a military access there. Still alive? Where's that? Got that going for him, if nothing else. Alright, fine. I don't think this costs us anything. I mean, don't really want any of their units. I think Southern Realms factions are still broken, although it's been a while since I've checked. In that they actually can't build advanced units. So look at all those potential confederations with all those dwarf factions. But yeah, we're gonna more or less leave them alone, because the grudges are fulfilled if any dwarf faction occupies whatever grudges. It doesn't have to be your dwarf faction. Actually, speaking of our dwarf faction, what do we got for tall victory here? Complete at least one major grudge. Oh, right. How's our grudging going? All right, we're working on Retake the Realms Part 2. We have to go north to take to do Part 1, which we will eventually. Part 3, we got 2. It'll be a while. Oh, the Karak 8 Peaks should be fulfilled rather shortly, and it's actually one of the better ones because it gives us the grudge settler unit capacity, rather than just piles of settled grudges. We also have to take the Silver Pinnacle, which is a separate thing itself, and we will send an army up here. We will send King Azrael the Silver Hammer up here. He will make a comeback, one of my favorite community canon lords, the undead dwarf king of Silver Pinnacle. But anyway, we'll get to that eventually. There's so much to do in this campaign, I'm loving it. Joseph of Zorn, so your army is complete and you're basically ready to move and do whatever it is you want to do here. Move out here to the edge of our own territory, I guess. And I see no orcs. We do want to push toward Idol of Zakalug, and also, wait, Broken Tooth Hold. We're going to delete you, and we're going to delete you, and we're going to uncollect the income for a turn or two.
What do you want?
You need to move this way. Okay, we have to figure out who's going to go where. Alright, you know what? Mr. Morgrimel, do we... Okay, where did we have... Oh, it's far away, isn't it? I was gonna say get the Slayer army. Oh, we gotta build stuff here as well before I forget. You know what? Build... You know what? I don't like that. Go for the barley field. And the Scrat Mine, and the Makazungor, and another Scrat Mine. Can't have too many Scrat Mines. And then I guess you can collect the income now. Nice. Do we want to maybe upgrade the Dwarf Keep here to get that gold mine up and running? Yeah, more Oath Gold and stuff, and then you can switch at least for now to High King's Tribute. Gonna be a lot of switching back and forth, but it'll be worth it at the end of the day. Oh, do we have any Deeps upgrades? I didn't check. I guess I preemptively destroyed that thing, and I maybe shouldn't have done that. Ah, yes, we do have some Deeps stuff. Looking good. Alright, so, first of all, we have the Underdeep Mine, which will give us a lot of potential resources. We have this thing. Maybe it's time to build it after all. Our control is pretty great in Karaz-a-Karak itself. And just to build a massive amount of Oath Gold. Not that the Ornate Goldsmiths won't generate a decent amount of cash as well. This thing, wait, is this worth it? So, we get a tiny amount of money. Even when we have all the technologies, we get 5 control, 200 gold, at a cost of a bunch of kegs. This seems like a terrible building. What about the... Oh, but the higher level gives us the capacities for all units, which is kind of nice. In fact, it's very nice. I mean, at the end of the day, we could always delete some of these and replace them with others. Yeah, alright, fine. We'll build the Underdeep Mine for now, and we'll build the... I guess we'll start on this thing. Start generating that Oath Gold. Alright, and we'll need to make sure to upgrade you as fast as we can as soon as we build you. Alright, that was a bunch of cash. But it was also what we were expecting. Anyway, Thorgrim, back to you. I guess you're going to proceed to Karag Monar. So you're going to go here. And I guess since you can't move there this turn... Go for Skarsnik, yeah. I think it's time. Is this a bad idea now? No. Alright. Great Book of Grudges. Legendary Lords. They have disappeared. I have some concerns. Game, please, don't do this to me. I just wanted to confederate. What the heck is this? Well, that's not great. Maybe it warrants a restart. I mean, this was the perfect time to confederate Thorek because I was gonna pop into the quest for the crown here. All right, I'm gonna restart the game, and I'm gonna hope that this isn't permanently bugged. Hopefully, it isn't the fact that we've Got so many other dwarf confederations available. I mean, it's not like we would have been confederating them earlier otherwise. No, okay, they're back. Okay, no need for a restart. Alright, Thorek, you got 6 settlements, a little bit more than I'd like, and probably introduced 2 armies, dropping our income significantly, but, well, we gotta deal with it. It is time. Thorek, go. Let's see what this does to our income. Ooh, Malachi's down to 1. Alright, well, we'll get him next. We'll get him next. If he's dying, he's not going to be able to acquire the items and stuff that he's supposed to acquire anyway. He's not going to complete his adventures at this rate, so may as well get him on field. Biligar can wait, and maybe Ungrim will be last? I don't know, I'll figure it out. Anyway, that dropped us by a lot of money. Confederation. Let's see what we're looking at. First of all, did that identify Kairos? Do we still have diplomatic? No, still no diplomatic contact with him, so we should be able to... Oh. We have a stupid little Tzeentchian faction here, which we can't reach immediately, but we can... What does Thorek have? Ha, more Iron Drakes. Everybody's building Iron Drakes. Well, that's obviously not what Thorek is supposed to have. Is this the last territory of this faction? It is. Alright, so we should wipe these guys out, and we should declare war on them immediately so that they don't do any crazy nonsense. Karaz-a-Karak. You will trade with us.
'Tis a great day.
Until we confederate you. Alright, in fact, let's just double check if there's any more... Knight Avengers of Brion. Probably gonna be friends with. Ironskins, Westerland, but nothing super important. Alright. Near to that military alliance with the western provinces. Our poor money. We had just got everything fixed. Alrighty, you're gonna go into... I don't know, in camp stance. Start approaching. Let's see if these guys have a full stack. No. You're gonna go into encamp. And you're gonna proceed here. We'll wipe these guys out next turn. And we should... Well, I guess we'll wipe them out and then we'll reset Thorek, because I'm willing to bet that the AI screwed him over. You. Declare war... wait, no. We will ask you to join the war against these guys. Soiree of Sorcery. Give us money. Tribute to the High King, there you go. Alright, next. Let's take a look at our territories. What do we have here? Stop building mustering halls in the main territory. Ugh. Alrighty, we've got an arms forge, which is not necessary for Thorek. Well, you know what, keep the ranger outpost until later. Take out the dwarf tinkerer's shop and take out the tinkerer's den after getting another... we don't have another... I was hoping to get you another engineer. We will need an engineer or 2 for Thorek because he likes those types of units. What do you have? Leia's Grace. Hey, I was gonna get a guy with this, so that's good. Take out your items for now. 3 runes at least. And you can lose your items as well. Oh, we have an engineer here with... Innovator, that's probably better for Malachi's, assuming that he doesn't give that to those guys directly. Hey, Jiao Ming, how you doing there, bud? Decent little stack you got there, bud. Do you have any heroes? Okay, we gotta do the itemization. There's always work to do when you have a confederation. What do we have here? A Thane with Forebearing. I prefer the other types of Thane. What do you have? Azuli, okay, no Tromak. Actually, just out of curiosity. I do like Drengul as well. Coordinated Carnage plus additional damage, at least for certain types of armies. We're at 8 out of 7, so if we delete them both, we could get a Thane and Thorek's army. He currently has a Runesmith who is corrupted by Tzeentch. Ouch, -5 control. But he has Zaki, which is quite nice. Alright. Lose the items, though. Like so, and I keep the Runesmith's apprentice. I wonder if we can get more Runesmiths. Wait, do you not have the Runesmith building? Thorek, what are you doing, man? Don't collect the income here. Alright, we'll take Mount Crag shortly, and yeah, he doesn't have a Runesmith building. Oh, yes, he does. Gorger Rock. Okay, don't collect the income here either. Blizzard Peak is... just build it. Delete the Tinkerer's Shop because it's public order loss. We can build more Runesmiths. Discouraged and Iron Gaze, not the ones that we want, though. You are gonna stay here. We're going to delete most of these units. We shouldn't need... well... Depends on if these guys declare war on us. You guys only have the 2 provinces? Yeah. And, ooh, they got wine and salt. I mean, I don't necessarily want to attack them, depending on how they feel about... No diplomatic contact with the western provinces. And let's see, quests end and Angry Fist Camp. Okay, that doesn't sound like they're holding dwarven territory that we need to have ourselves. You have no items anymore, just that Runesmith's Apprentice. What do you have? Tradition and Innovation and Thunderer. I guess that'll be good for your quarrelers. And of course, the AI didn't get his unique traits, which are pretty great. Pretty trait. So Dwarfen Tools gives us the Flaxen's Runes of Seeking for Grudge Throwers, Range for Missile Infantry, Rune of Burning for Bolt Throwers, and Armor Piercing Damage Massive Increase for Quarrelers, Rune of Spite, Local Provinces, and we'll take a look at these more later. I just want to see... Construction cost reduction is nice. I want to see if there's anything faction-wide from him that we super critically need. But I guess we're okay. We're okay to reset next turn. And the Old Ways Are Best gives him additional armor piercing weapon damage, and reload time for Quarrelers, Bolt Throwers, and Grudge Throwers. Alright. That's fine. He'll be more of our Grudge Thrower-centric army, because I'm more interested in that. He'll have the Quarrelers for throwing bolts around, and a Grimly Quarrel Seeker as the Bolt Thrower guy. So, yeah. Okay, gotta pay attention to who wants to get this stuff, and I did all of this? Okay, I think we're okay now, right? Okay, you obviously don't need this. Frankly, we could just trade all these territories to these guys to hold them for now. Well, actually, you know what, this will come in at tier 3, which might be useful. I think that's it. In terms of stuff we want to keep. Because we want an engineer here, and these guys don't have it. Well, they do have this one engineer, and while he is a good engineer because of that innovator trait, it isn't the engineer that we wanted. Alright, well, that's fine. A little bit worried about Kairos identifying us rather than us waiting to identify him, which would be a concern, but it is what it is. Alright, sorry about that, but the admin was quite necessary. I believe we've done everything that we needed to do, or a lot of the stuff that we needed to do. Scout Silverhorn. I guess we're going to Bretonia now, since we couldn't identify it. We've got a long way to travel. Hopefully we just get some kind of vision. I'm actually shocked that we don't have vision of Bordeaux Errant, considering we're in an alliance with Carl, but, well, we'll get there. I'm sure they'll want to ally with us. Braun Kandum. I wish I remembered which army you were supposed to go in. Oh, it's this army, because you don't have a Thane. Every army needs a Thane. The way it works. Alright, and then I guess you're going to push out to here and move towards Idol of Zakalug. Like so. And similar to the other armies, these armies will be trading, will be swapping units around. Oh, speaking of, I was going to send you, sir, to take command of this army. So you're going to march stance right here. You're going to command this. You are going to grab some units and you're going to transfer them to... Okay, wait. And take these dwarf warriors, just this one unit. And then this unit will become a gyrocopter into a gyro bomber for Thorgrim. Better have you transfer those. Oh, and I should probably transfer the goblobbers as well. Not to Thorgrim, but... can you jump over this? I don't know, but I'm gonna go try. I'm gonna act as a troop ferry now. And then Vikram Burdrick, you've got a lot of other stuff that needs to be transferred. King Lhune, you need to join an army. This army does not yet have a runesmith. This dragon slayer, rather, will probably have to go to the... Okay, you can join this army. Oh, you can move. Oh, this was a new turn. Whoops, okay. So we have the Confederation debuff, meaning we can do the quest battle. Right. Okay, I'm forgetful in my old age. Let's see, you're gonna get Tradition and Innovation, keep buffing those gyrocopters and bombers. Let's actually start from this side. You want to get Keeper of the Gate to get the or Vigor Reduction loss for all Hammerers, which is fantastic. And then you're waiting for Fell-Handed Warriors, so you can wait. Garagrim. Max out Replenish troops, you're trying to go through Slayer Oath and you're going to be using Slayer forces, so you're going to hold on to those points at least for now. You have Retinue Physician, which is the main thing. And you already have Zaki, so we're going to start moving through Scouting after Wardbreaker. So Wardbreaker first. Man, the Runesmiths have a lot of good stuff in their trees. You For Kirsten, Lethal Romancer, yeah, let's start going through his damaging abilities now. Sigmar's Ward. Hello, what does this do? Character experience gain, eh? Yeah, sure. At level 2, we'll do that. Get the guy leveling a little bit faster, although this will mean he will outlevel Gotrek shortly. Or slowly, actually, not shortly, to be fair. Hardened Adventure. It's just become a permanent addition to, well, I guess it was always a permanent addition to pretty much everybody's lexicon, but I say it a lot more now. Because reasons. Master Engineer. What do we got? At one point, we've been going through adamant plating as we're looking to get the various gyro bombers in Thorgrim's army, and I believe that's it. Alright, Thorgrim. Well, let's take some damage. We are going to do the Dragon Crown of Karaz, which will give us a free Master Rune of Spite. Oh, I didn't check what Master Runes Thoric was currently holding. Wait. Actually, speaking of Thoric, okay, one last second, one thing that we still need to check. Am I crazy, or is Thoric supposed to have some kind of buff towards using the, like, a faction-wide buff for, not Oath Gold, a faction-wide buff for using, for using Oath Gold in the Forge, but apparently not. Am I missing something? He doesn't have a unique blue line like Grimbrindle does. I guess he doesn't. Well, that's a little bit disappointing. The main reason I wanted him was because I vaguely recalled that he had some kind of buff to Oath Gold usage. But apparently he does not. Oh well. Not a big deal. If he doesn't, he doesn't. Alrighty, and oh, what about his quests? He's got both of his things, and hey, +1 control. Oh, there it is. Oath Gold cost for crafting runes. Okay, well, I'm glad I looked there, or else it would have bothered me for ages. Damn, we're down to 3,700 gold per turn. We really need to fix that fast as we can. Anyway, Thorgrim, back to you, Kent. The Dragon Crown of Karaz. Let's give this a read and let's jump on in. What are we facing off against? Some stuff. I don't think anything's concerning for Thorgrim. There are dire tidings from the south. Rangers report that a brutal orc warboss has arisen and that hordes of greenskins are flocking to fight under his leadership. A mighty Wa is forming and seems to be heading north towards the gateway to the Empire's southern border, the fabled Blackfire Pass. The route through the mountains has witnessed countless titanic struggles over the centuries, many of them pivotal to the survival of the old world, where dwarfs and men stood together to hold back disaster and will again. Yeah, not a bad little blurb. Teleport. Gotta get that control and the counteract the debuff. Hack for spike, and we got a little bit in the way of Imperial Eyes. I'm gonna quick save this. I've been Oh, actually, no, there was no need to quick save. I forgot to do it for all the settlement captures because it was those crashes, but then I remembered to do it on a non-settlement capture. Blah. All right, go. Thorgrim must defend the pass, as his ancestors have done many times before. Let us hope that the Umgi will heed the summons and send forth their own warriors. In the meantime, the High King's throng must fight and hold back the Green Tide. I was pretty good at doing that sort of thing, so...
Once more, we will ally with the Manlings, just as Grimnir did 10 score centuries ago. It has been many years since the Umgi have produced an emperor as worthy as Magnus or their founding warrior king. But I hear good things about this Franz. Now is the time to test his mettle. We will stand with him against the Groby at Blackfire Pass, as King Kurgan did long ago. If the men of the Empire fight with bravery and honor, then the runes of my crown will glow with pride ever after. A gesture of my will, just as this Emperor awaits to take up his Warhammer. A gift from the Dwarfs, no less. So, gird your loins, my kin. May your eyes be sharp and thirsty for Urk blood, for they come. We will repulse these vile creatures with our dying breath and renew the oldest and greatest alliance this world has ever seen.
Alrighty, here we go, Blackfire Pass itself, and once again, I just gotta compliment Thorgrim's speeches. A, I like his voice acting, and B, I've just been really enjoying his speeches. Maybe since I haven't played Thorgrim since Total Warhammer 1, I don't really remember them, and thus they feel new to me. But generally speaking, I just think the man makes a great speech. And surprisingly, not a particularly short one. Anyway, Thorgrim, with his single entities, is going to charge forward towards the enemies. There's clearly going to be a lot of reinforcements, so we don't really care about what we do to this particular army. And it's probably not going to have a particularly good day. So, yeah, we'll start off by assassinating the enemy lord, which is on a wyvern up in the sky. And fortunately, our gyrocopters are pretty darn adept at that sort of thing, especially if the enemy lord wants to sit still. Frankly, I'm surprised he hasn't moved. The enemy will hit us back with its own artillery, however, as Doom Divers drop those gobos into the midst of our hammers as they close the distance. And we ain't waiting for the manlings to arrive. We can bonk many an orc or gobbo in the Blackfire Pass before they show themselves. Yeah, I think out of all the pre-battle speeches so far, at least near that I remember, my favorite is definitely Kemmler. Kemmler is just, he's so sassy in his speeches, it's absolutely fantastic. Definitely my favorite. And that's not even a bias towards Vampire Counts talking. I just really like his sassy, evil Gandalf nature. But anyway. What about you guys? Is there another lord that just makes really fun and great speeches? Well, let me know, because I'd love to try to pay attention to those. Anyway, in the meantime, enemy's army is having a bad day, but reinforcements are moving on in. There is an enemy lord who we're going to assassinate to not allow him to cast, but we're going to leave the Arachnarok alone. We could very well and easily kill off the Arachnarok rather, but we're just going to leave it to Thorgrim to kill off instead. And while our hammers do the good old job of bonking apart as many gobos as they can, every single individual unit looking like once again it's overrun just by virtue of the fact that there's only 60 units in a unit of hammers. Here comes the Arachnarok, sighting Thorgrim himself and heading directly towards him, which I'm pretty happy with. Thorgrim, of course, is affecting everybody near him with the Rune of Spite as well, and will hit a few of the enemy with his axe before turning towards the Arachnarok. I do love how the Arachnarok matches the background as well. We've got the sort of lava and the, well, rock. Wait, this is a regular Arachnarok, not a lava Arachnarok, but, you know, it matches this particular map, which is really nice. It is not, however, having a particularly good day. The Oath of Vengeance is down upon it, dropping its melee defense down to 28, and Thorgrim keeps whacking away at it, dropping it down to half HP rather rapidly and forcing it to skitter the heck out of there. In the meantime, the manlings have at last arrived, a little bit late to the party perhaps, but a welcome addition. Our ancient allies after all. Alrighty, ooh, and looks like Thorgrim can even stagger the Arachnarok with his blows, which isn't too bad. He's only hitting for 716 so far, but that's without too much in the way of his red line. Anyway, the Arachnarok shatters, and since it's going to run, we'll make sure that it gets brought down with the Troll Hammers. Empire Knights have moved on in as well, who are going to drop a couple of them with our Troll Hammer torpedoes while focusing the enemy trolls down, but, well, that's unfortunate for them. Besides, these are allies, but they're not an actual army in the sense that we don't really care what happens to them. Minus the fact that, I guess, if they all died here, we might lose the battle, but, you know. Well, not the Reichsguard, just the entire enemy army. It's probably just the enemy lord. Anyway, looks like the battle is very nearly ours. Trolls are still there. I believe there was a giant, but it got mobbed by the heroes and such. And plus, it's kind of more entertaining to watch the fight up on top of this hill with everybody, including with the Empire. Once maybe... I was about to say, once we've cleared the mountains, we could probably move a little bit into the lowlands to help our allies out. Although we don't necessarily have to wait until all the mountains are clear. We may even just send a few sort of expeditions, a few armies to make sure that our allies are having a good time as well, because that'll pay, it'll pay dividends. It'll prevent other enemy factions from growing strong. It'll make our allies strong and thereby being better trade partners. And giving us better outpost units. Alright, and they're yelling Sigmar, because the victory is theirs, and well, in reality the victory is ours. Blackfire Pass secured once more, and so is the crown, whose runes will, as Thorgrim said, now glow with pride. All right, very, very nice. It was a really nice fight. Great to work together with our manling allies, inferior as their contributions were to the battle itself. Thorgrim with 133 kills and 28,000 damage, and actually, looks like Thorgrim beat everybody in terms of damage between his own hard-hitting, well, hits and his Rune of Spite, and ripping that Ragnarok to shreds, and hardly surprising. Still, everybody got to play, and I'm really liking the dynamic of this army. This campaign is starting to maybe make me rethink a little bit the way that I build armies, and maybe I'll start doing more heroes and less units in armies, just because it enables them to be overrun a little bit more and fight a little bit more. The more units you have, generally speaking, the easier battles tend to get. So yeah, dwarfs are really doing it for me in that regard, and Thorgrim's army especially. Anyway, we got a decent bit of money for it, so we'll certainly take it. And that'll give us the Runesmith's Apprentice, and there we go. The Dragon Crown of Karaz, some solid buffs for Thorgrim. Recruit rank +2 for Longbeards. I don't think he's going to be using any of those. I don't see why. They cost infinity times as much more than hammerers do, because hammerers are free for him. More importantly, another +2 control, and the +2 control from Thoric. Or the +1 control from Thoric, plus the +25 control for all provinces, means we can counteract the debuff a little bit. Frankly, I maybe should have waited until the Confederation was down to 2 turns and then done it, because several of our provinces will probably over control, if that makes any sense. But, well, I guess at the end of the day, it's not a huge deal. On the bright side, what it will do is over the next few turns, every province will give us -1 construction cost reduction, so it'll make several things quite a bit cheaper, which is a nice thing. For obvious reasons. Anyway, now there we go. The Dragon Crown is ours. Oh, right. I forgot that Thorgrim recovers movement speed after winning fights. Well, isn't that lovely? I guess we're moving. Alrighty, and... Oh, it's Skaven here? Oh, I didn't even take a look at this one. What do we have here? Control +4 in local province. Well, that's great for local province. Doesn't really matter for other places. Yeah, most of these are terrible. A couple of them are amazing. I like this one. Does so many things. So Grand Underway Junction is the most important one. Although there is a bunch of... And I still don't understand why the dwarfs are getting Winds of Magic Power Reserve capacity. If anybody can explain that to me, I'd really love to hear it. But anyway. What do we have here? Oh. What? We don't... Huh. Without artillery, we don't have siege attacker on Thorgrim. Well, that's a shame. I don't want artillery in his army. But that means we won't be able to insta-attack. Okay, that's going to be annoying, but I guess this turn we have no choice but to besiege the enemy. Who knows? Skarsnik may sally out. I don't think he's gonna, but he might. And we'll give him a chance to do so. Anyway, well, let's start moving from the top. Ooh, let's also double-check any more new rearguard lords. I think I already did that this turn, didn't I? Alright, fine, ignore it then. Vikram. Alrighty, so your master engineer... Oh, right. This guy's going to Thorgrim, meaning you actually need to proceed towards Ulfar Norgrimling, who's bringing him that guy. The rest of this stuff is fine as it is, minus the fact that it needs to be transferred as well. You, I guess... Wait, can reach a Lost Archway of Valea. What do we have here? Hey, we're approaching Karak Azul. And some good stuff there. Runesmith reductions for... Ah, okay. Thanks for letting me read that game. Alrighty, we'll move you in a second. You, I guess, wait. You do this, can you... No. Alright, fine, I guess you're gonna have to march stance, no choice in the matter. If these guys have... They could jump... Wait, this is rats. No, so we're still okay. We're actually going to be completely surrounded by rats after this, which is potentially a concern for these guys. Anyway, what do we have here? 7 settlements. Still a fair bit. Alright, so we're going to have to fight this in a second. You guys can't move. I guess you're on the approach to these guys. Can regular miners take the Slayer Oath? Apparently not. Frankly, every single unit available to dwarf should be able to take the Slayer Oath. But it's fine, I guess. Also, you have a Runesmith, and I'm gonna say we're gonna take the Dragon Slayer out of the other army and pop it into your army, so we'll need to make you move back, but after we probably fight this fight. You then... We'll probably upgrade these miners to other things in combination with some of these units. We can... What can Quarrelers become? Thunderers. Oh, well that's perfect, because I was gonna make them into Thunderer... Well, this guy was gonna be our Thunderer army.
Yes.
Ah. Can Dwarf Warriors become Thunderers? They can become Quarrelers, which can become Thunderers, so yes, meaning we can actually transfer all of these guys to you. Oh, that's perfect. We can... Wait, can we upgrade them to Grudge Rakers? Because they're vanilla units now. It used to be they were available only in SFO, and yes, we can. Oh, that's perfect. That'll make this army a lot faster to get up and running. It'll take a little bit of time to get cannons and stuff, but we can actually build our own cannons in a bunch of places, including here. Frankly, I probably could have done that right here, but anyway. Alright, well, that worked out. Anyway, let's see what else and who else needs to be moved. Braun Hammerfist, you're fine. Rearguard Helldower, you're fine. Thorak is fine-ish. Just gotta get rid of all these armies in order to get where we want to be. You're this guy. Oh, you're this engine. Oh, you can go into this army. What are you talking about, game? And King Lhune, you were supposed to go... Were you supposed to go into this army? Yes, okay, so you're gonna go into the Thunderer army, I guess. You already have a Runesmith, and you already have a Runesmith. Technically, the Fire armies could probably use several Runesmiths, because they do that Rune of Wrath and Ruin, which is fiery, but we don't have enough capacity for them right now to be doing that sort of thing anyway, so I guess we'll ignore it. Alright, that looks good, meaning we can... Well, might as well double-check Diplo for the 50th time. Still tempted by the Night Avengers of Brienne, but... it depends on whether their territories need to be held by us or not. Oh, this also gives us immunity to attrition, which is nice. And the free character experience gain will be great for the rearguard lords. Ooh, speaking of rearguard lords, you have Mason. We can actually... Because that was the important thing for the rearguards. I mean, yes, we will eventually want to get Inquiring Mind. That's going to take forever. So let's get Oath of Forging. Local province will be generating more Oath Gold. And I guess the same thing is going to be true for all of these rearguard guys. Lovely. Alright, we got a little bit of cash, so let's take a look at some of our provinces here. At least some of them will probably warrant at least a couple of upgrades. You will eventually, but we want to deal with ones right now that need to be swapped. Okay, like you. 4.4k, eh? It's expensive, but if we upgrade this and then upgrade the Gorl Mine, and I guess the Granary here... We could probably do this upgrade, expensive though it may be, and even one of these, and then switch you to High King's Tribute to increase the amount of cash, and that's all of our money. Lovely. Alrighty, and then we'll trade back these 2 territories to... Okay, we'll abandon this one, but then we'll trade back the other territories and swap these units in and start moving towards going after Scarbrand, and eventually... Actually, would like to build a sparring chamber, but later. We'll want to trade the... Crow Brethren Roost for Grung Diratduraz, because it is clearly a dwarf in the settlement, and it's got those gems. Actually, I wonder how much it's worth. Just out of curiosity. Grung Diratduraz, 15, it's actually not worth that much. Okay, good. Just out of curiosity, Crow Brethren Roost, okay, not worth all that much yet, but it'll complete this guy's province, and yeah, I think that'll work. That'll allow us to move this way, wipe these guys out, but then... take this and then give it to Oshiotla. Looking pretty good. Alrighty, let's skip, and end the turn.
I am the High King.
Well, darn. It looks like Skarbrand will declare war on us a little bit earlier than I would have liked, but it is what it is. I think we're not going to call our allies to help for this because I don't want him attacking Boris. All right, well, we were marching down here anyway, so it is what it is. We're just going to have to take these back, or if he raises them, recolonize them. Hopefully Boris doesn't take the opportunity to do so, but anyway. Oh wow, Skarsnik will sally out. Oh, I've been happy with the AI's non-cowardice in this particular campaign, and hey, this time I'll actually remember to do the quick save. There we go. Alright, happy to see Skarsnik. Thank you, thank you. We'll be wiping you out this very turn. Go Thorgrim.
No, Joey! Let us wipe them out! Take up your axes and seek glory in death!
Alright, here we go. Maybe the shield bearers should have slightly bigger shields when, you know, that's all they've got, you know? Or maybe put some spikes on them or something if the only thing they can do is shield bash jerks. Make those shield bashes hurt a little bit more. I wonder if the edges of these shields are particularly sharp. But anyway, here we go. We got Skarsnik himself. I mean, if we're going to take 8 peaks, if we're going to do Belagar's job for him and prove why he's only King of 8 peaks and why Thorgrim is the High King, we might as well defeat both Thorgrim, or Thorgrim, defeat Thorgrim. Only Thorgrim can defeat Thorgrim. What was I saying? Defeat both Skarsnik and Queek Headtaker. And, well, we'll start with Skarsnik. Now, we are going to try to do the same thing where we try to wipe out as much of his army as possible in terms of preventing their escape, but I think it might not be possible here. We don't have enough gyrocopters and gyro bombers or whatever, fast units, in order to do that. So, we'll leave them to it, and we'll speed this up a little bit and allow the enemy army to approach and get some good old-fashioned fighting then. The enemy army is, I believe... Ooh, wow, something hit the Sons of Drajgrund hard. Damn, they lost 12 units. I guess that was a little bit of a spell. And yeah, this guy. Night Goblin Shaman. Huh, actually, no, you've got 0 kills. What the heck hit you? Artillery piece? No, those guys are still back there. 18 kills on Skarsnik. Oh, it was a Doomdiver strike. Oh, I didn't even notice it. Huh. Could have actually dodged that. Unless it was Skarsnik's Prodder. Possibility as well. Anyway, not that it matters. Unlike the Orky army, which we were able to devastate on its approach towards our main line, we cannot do the same thing here. The army brought by Skarsnik is very, very quick moving. It's all gobos and fast movers together. Meaning, yeah, that's why we can't, or are unlikely to do anything about them actually... escaping, which is alright, but it also means they're able to close the distance. And it looks like with the amount of fast movers that they've got, they're actually pushing on through and giving us something of a fight, which is nice to see. Thorgrim facing off against the Goblin Big Boss simply because we can't spot Skarsnik yet, as he is in stock like the rest of his army was, as it suddenly arrived. I wish there was a toggle that in replays you could see the army sort of in stock, like toggle its visibility on and off. Maybe there is, but I just haven't bothered to look into it too much. Alrighty, and we got more Doom Divers falling to the ground and damaging Thorgrim's Grudgebearers now. Huh, also down by 12 units. Interesting. Exactly the same amount. Which I guess makes sense because it's a very similar type of unit. Alrighty, how are we doing otherwise, though? Looks like Skarsnik has at last arrived, but he's too afraid to face off against Thorgrim and will face off against Garagrim instead. Is this a good idea? I'm not so sure about that. Garagrim will activate Axes of Kadrin and will pop Patriarch on him, giving him 82 melee attack magical and a weapon strength at nearly 900 as well. Skarsnik suffers about 25% of his HP after a single blow. And it looks like this is finally an episode where Garagrim will get his time to shine. Until we confederate Ungrim, it's nice to see Garagrim do his thing a little bit. He's also going to activate his little Dax Twirly Doomseeker ability. and tear through those units near him. He's actually defeated Skarsnik, bringing him down to 10% HP, and then quickly defeated the Goblin Big Boss, getting 149 kills and 16,000 damage in, I don't know, maybe a minute of fighting. Pretty darn solid, I gotta say. Since Skarsnik is running like a coward, Thorgrim is on the approach. You're not getting away from Thorgrim, buddy. Unlike Garagrim, he can chase you down. Alright, and there we go. Trolls are running away as well, but the trolls will drop with our gyrocopters. There are, however, still a few units fighting over on the very left flank. They are going after or mobbing our Longbeard's Grudge Settlers, which are by far the most fragile units here. Which is a good decision from the AI, as they're much more likely to damage them than they are the rest of our units. That said, how likely that actually is isn't crazy likely. Oh, I also gotta remember to actually get these Grudge Settler Longbeards out of this army. They don't really belong here. I guess since we're probably going to ferry some stuff to Thorgrim shortly, we'll take these Longbeards with him as well. They were originally kept in this army to protect the artillery pieces that Thorgrim was temporarily using, but they're clearly not necessary anymore. Alright, well, they do look good and still match nicely with our various hammers. Anyway, with that, I do believe the enemy army is pretty much done for, or at least all their melee are done. They do still have a fair few range units running around, and surprisingly, some forced Goblin Spider Riders decided to engage Thorgrim. Gotrek, Felix, and all of our other single entities, plus some hammers, are going to move on and mow down those spiders rather quick. But those spiders have the massive amount of speed that will allow them to skitter away, even with Frostfire on them. Oh right, I was originally planning to put a couple of those hammerers with Frostfire in the fire army, but I fear that's not actually possible. Yeah, I'm thinking we might generate a second fire army that'll be a little bit different. Get like 4 hammerers with Frostfire. And maybe some... Ooh, wait, I have an idea. We can use King Azrael, the Silver Hammer's army, as a partial fire army and a partial hammerer army. Maybe still throw in those Frostworms that he used in his debut campaign. Yes, I think that'll be nice. But then use the regular Iron Drakes with him as well. And then he'll have lots of Frostfire happening, plus Chilling Aura. I like it. Frostfire theme for him. I think we'll do that. I think you guys will enjoy that army. Anyway, we'll get to that eventually. For now, Skarsnik's been defeated. His army's been defeated, and though we'll do our best to catch as many units as we can. Once again, they're just way too fast. Also, fantastic view. As always, I just gotta say, this game has a lot of beautiful moments. Alright, there we go. Skarsnik defeated with a decent ease, and all of our units got to fight as usual, but unlike the fight against the previous, more orky sort of army that sallied out, we weren't able to kill them all, but that was never going to happen. There are too many gobos, too many fast units in here to chase them down, even with what we've got. That's alright, though. That just means we'll just occupy it next turn. Plus, we got to defeat Skarsnik, which feels appropriate, so yeah, anyway. Alrighty, defeated Skarsnik for Thorgrim. Ella begins outpost construction everywhere. Confederation between Karag and Zufbar. Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Oh, damn. These guys were down to 1 territory. How'd you lose another territory? Thorgrim, come on, man. Yeah, so the interesting aspect of this is this. By leaving a few of the dwarf factions as yet unconfederated, it gives them the opportunity to confederate the minor dwarfen factions without us having to suffer the horrible confederation debuff. which is interesting in and of itself. Now, between the turns, I edited it out, but the little tiny remnant of units here decided to move this way and decided to attack Gautry Holdfast's army. I just auto-resolved it and got rid of all of those units, which we were going to more or less do anyway, because we have way too many units out here for Thorek, especially since we don't want to use 2 armies right now, since we more or less seem to be surrounded by friendly factions, minus the ogres, but we'll deal with those, we know, when we have to. Ooh, a brewmaster. Gem cutters and obsidian quarries. I have to remember that. And, okay, you can lose the stonemason as well. Actually, wait. Brewmaster. Hey, a guildmaster for Thorgard Brightaxe. Who the heck are you? Oh, you're this guy. Yeah, that's fine. Income from trade tariffs and another guildmaster. Ranked up well. Hopefully everybody starts picking these up then, because that's great. Actually, it shouldn't be on Scout Silverhorn, though, because it should be on others. And the mission issued, the Halfling Pudding Grudge. Use a hero to successfully perform an action against the following settlement: Karaz-a-Karak. Well, that's interesting. I'm going to give this a read. Under Morgrim's disappointed glare, the dwarfs of Karaz-a-Karak steal away a cook bound for the kitchens of Karaz-a-Karak. The secret of his nutty fig pudding recipe was the reason. A spiteful move to deprive the High King of one of his favorites in petty retribution for a difficult reckoner's inspection. A grudge has been recorded, and there will be no negotiations with Ziflin until they give up the halfling. That's amazing. I'm so happy right now. Anyway, you're going over here anyway, so go and do something to Ziflin. And oh my lord, you're going to take 8 years to get there. Well, good luck, sir. We will see you again someday, I'm sure. Yeah, alright, so let's pop this guy's, I don't know. Felix, you want to hold on to the... You have a... Oh, right, you have a stonemason. You want to hold on to the somebody? I forgot what the name was. The panic is setting in. Okay, yeah, it was this guy. Goldsmith on Brawnhammer Fiske. I'm just going to assume that that's fine. Income from iron mines, gold mines, and stone quarries. Okay, first of all, we have a gem cutter that we just got. Not a jewel smith, a gem cutter. That should be on you, right? Or was it a gem cutter? Oh, brewmaster. Brewmaster helps gem cutters. Okay, yes, that's what I want. And gem cutters are these things? Gem mining. I'm just going to assume that that's what it is. And ooh, this is nearly complete. We'll need to spend some money there. And there, and there, and there. Oh, in fact, oh man, do we switch out a tribute to the High King to build this? It's 6.6k. We can reduce it by... It might actually not save us enough money. By going minus 40%, we might actually lose the 2,000 gold per turn. You know what? I'll just build it as it is then. And don't bother switching out a tribute. I think. It's not like we need to build anything else here at this very turn, and only in 4 turns, and that'll be a bit, so just build it then. Alright, works for me. Alrighty, ooh, we got a decent bit of oath gold that we can spend on stuff as well. Mostly we want more Everguard up and running, so we'll probably do the commandment for them. Auto-resolve this for obvious reasons. And occupy it also for obvious reasons. Alright, enemy killed in battle, potion of strength, and there's that Master Rune of Spite for completing the Perfidious Sneak Grudge. Treasury plus 2.5k, and that wasn't the Karakate Peaks grudge, was it? It was a separate grudge? Yeah. But we're 3 away from this. Oh, we still have to destroy Crooked Moon and Clan Moors, but Crooked Moon is down to 1 settlement. And Karag Yar. It's real Yarshug, and we will uncollect the income here, and I guess everywhere around here is going to need those Karaz Ankors up and running. Might as well build it, it's pretty cheap. And frankly, it would be nice to get the construction sites everywhere here. Thorgrim reduces it fairly considerably. On the other hand, it'll be cheaper probably once we have the dwarf outpost here. Just leave it alone for now. I'm going to say, yeah, just ignore it. And what do we have here? Oh, right. Okay, you guys. Auto-resolve this. I'm just going to assume that it's not going to do any damage, and occupy. Like so, 25% on those Age of Reckoning Karak rebels. That's quite interesting. Could have some dwarf-on-dwarf action if we wanted it. Everybody likes dwarf-on-dwarf action. Anyway, Dragon Slayer, you need to move down here. How are we going to do that? Okay, wait. Well, actually, I wanted to move these guys into this army anyway, so this actually works out decently well. And you can go into this army as well. I also need the Thane. And you are proceeding to try to get to Thorgrim. Okay, all trade all the time. Thank you. And you to Thorgrim. I guess we'll try to jump over like this. I don't know whether it's possible, but I would like to find out. You're not able to go here right now, are you? No chance? No chance. Alright, fine, fair enough. Oh, you know what? There's functionally no difference, so we can stay in Valea's will for the turn and then get a little bit of extra public order here. That should be good. Alrighty, what about you guys? We're going to Pilfer Town. We're going to pilfer some stuff, as one does in Pilfer Town. Don't name it Pilfer Town if you don't want stuff pilfered, you know? Go to Pilfer Town. What do we have here, by the way? Ooh, is this worth a fight? I have been hankering to see those Drake guns in proper action, and Snorri Morgrimmel, you are supposed to... Ooh, oh, hello. Now that'll be a proper fight. A more proper fight, a properer fight. Hmm. With a full stack, I actually wish I had sent you here, but, well, okay, we'll figure that out in a bit. There are how many settlements do we have, out of curiosity? We're at 55, and turn 65. We're approaching sort of par in terms of this building starting to do nothing. Meaning, if we keep advancing and if we keep taking territory at this rate, we're going to have to delete this building that gives us the money here and replace it instead with the repurposed guild foundries for the upkeep reduction and construction cost reduction. It's a great building, and clearly, I mean, it's turned 65. We have a lot of settlements. Yeah, but anyway, so Skarbrand has declared war on us, meaning we need to deal with it ASAP. Now, we need everybody to come on down. So you're gonna go here. Grimly, you're going to... Okay, wait. Okay, you're gonna go here in march stance. I'm going to assume Skarbrand can't reach us this turn. We'll trade the Monolith of Haka. Yes, we'll trade the Monolith of Haka to this guy in a second. And then you, Groth Asgal, are the rear guard for this particular territory, so you're going to go there in a second as well. Or return there. And we'll see about more recruitment if more recruitment should be required. Trade. And get ready to move. Grimly, this is obviously half of your army and half of Grimbrindle's, and Grimbrindle has half of your army. Yeah, we'll split them off very soon. I know it's bizarre for those two, but yeah. Yeah, it's two legends working together. They're good. Ooh, we got a level up here on Rearguard Helldower. Good. Root Marcher, not towards Mason, unfortunately. Just gonna have to double check the additional level ups on those guys. Ooh, also, you. All of you are supposed to become Thunderers. Like so. And wait, can we... Yeah, we can make two of them into Thunderers of Grudgerakers already. Beautiful. I mean, this is the guy that I want using this army, and you know what? Let's get him the Grimdelvers immediately as well. Not Ulthar's... Ooh, gotta remember to get those Ulthar's Rangers. In fact, do this now. Grimdelvers, beautiful. Then you can have Ulthar's Rangers. There we go, alright. Alright, next. Something else I wanted to do. Okay, these guys are supposed to become warriors, and then the warriors... Oh, wait, you can become a cannon, can't you? Yes. Good. And not yet to organ gun, but this will be thunderers, organ guns, cannons, all the good gunny stuff. Minus Karag, who needs to move down here, but, Maybe we'll use... You know what? We will use Vikram to deliver him, because for whatever reason, the game designers decided that armies could use tunneling stance, but like a single lord can use tunneling stance, but a single hero cannot. I don't understand, and I never will. But it's not a huge deal either way. Ooh, we should actually move to Lhune to build... Oh, it's tier 5. We should not. Never mind. And I guess since it's not collecting income for now anyway, we'll demolish this building, and we'll want to move there briefly with Thorgrim in order to build, so we'll say move up here, and then move up to Karag. And then loop back around to start our war with the rats again, as in the Queaky rats. Alright. Anyway, that's good there. I think we should fight one more fight, maybe? And this is the bigger fight, but these guys have already fought, and I'm really just invested into the Drake guns right now, so I think this is the one that we're gonna do. Let's get Thunderer for more Drake gun power. Ooh, wait. You have... Okay, wait, this is actually going to be an important question. We'll have 3 artillery pieces, but this gives us additional master engineer capacity and ammunition for artillery versus Grugny, which will give us upkeep reduction for... Oh, dwarf engineers are also fire units, so in theory we might want at least 1 or 2 of them in here, though I don't know what we'd take out. I do like the additional ammunition for dwarf miners and melee defense, but this gives us research and master engineer capacity. And the upkeep reduction towards the more expensive units. I mean, I guess if we don't... Their ammunition is okay, and they're sort of melee. I'm gonna say venerate Morgrim, and also it kind of makes sense to venerate the god of engineers. Although the grudge settlers... Well, they're actually fairly cheap when we have the... have this up and running. Huh. I didn't know that they're significantly more expensive than the flame cannons. This is quite interesting. But I'm gonna still say venerate Morgrim here. Hope I'm not wrong about this. Because it would be a lot less ammunition. Like, the doubling of the ammunition of the blasting charges is great. I don't deny this. Nonetheless, frankly, and ultimately, it's not going to make that huge of a difference, you know, it's just the principle of the thing sort of thing. Anyway, you, Retinue Valet, keep going until you reach Retinue Physician, Engineers. You guys definitely need Flash Bomb, definitely need Break Open the Casks, and we'll still want to get you towards the 42 pounders, so we'll get you Triangulation as a start, and then into Requisition, definitely need the additional ammunition. And you're going to do the exact same thing. Flash Bomb, Break Open the Casks, and Triangulate, and then Requisition. Lovely. Thane, you are definitely going to get Ironbeard. It'll give some of the ammunition to the miners and engineers and Iron Drakes anyways, so that kind of, if not solves the problem, at least does something for us. And I guess this army could use training, so let's go for 2 points in training. We'll save the rest of the points for Fell-Handed Warrior and the additional bonus amount to cash. Anyway, I want to fight this. Gotta see those the fire army in action, in proper action. Go. Alrighty, here we go. Our fire army finally, our first fire army, finally complete for the glory of the Jartrom clan. They will do their thing. We'll see how well they do against this little army, though I'd wager the enemy's gonna have a pretty darn bad time. I'm gonna start the battle off with those gyrocopters with brimstone guns firing away into the enemy boar boys below. And as we've seen before, this is the thing that the Brimstone Guns variant in SFO is really, really good at. Better even than the Gyrocopter's Grudge Settlers, because this is their niche. And they're kind of firing away at the boar boys like a cannon would, where a single shot from those brimstone guns knocks out several enemies in a line, which is really nice. And this is a decent way to annoy the enemy army into moving towards us so that we can check out our units. I feel like the game needs like a mechanic where you actively save formations. I know it does kind of save formations between battles sometimes, though I genuinely don't know in what situations it actually does that. But since this is basically the formation that we'd more or less likely be wanting to use for the entire time of this particular army, with the units of Iron Drakes interspersed among the units of Thunderers, and with the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass and the Miners out front to act as quote-unquote melee, though frankly, they actually have less melee defense than the Thunderers with Drake guns. And they're unshielded, so it might actually be even better to put them behind the Thunderers. But either way, I'd just like a way to save formations, especially since, depending on the army, some armies do tend to keep similar sorts of formations from battle to battle. Some armies depend on what foes they're facing, though, and change formations nearly every time, but Obviously, we wouldn't be saving those ones. Anyway, we have the boar boys destroyed. We're going after the trolls now, which are probably going to have just as bad a time against the brimstone guns, possibly a worse time, considering the trolls don't like fire all that much. That said, I believe we finally annoyed the enemy army, who has begun to move towards us. They have a long way to travel, however, as that fire grudge thrower, the explosive one, will continue to drop explosive jagged rocks on top of their heads. Though it looks like the little desiccated trees here will be shielding a fair few of them. But that's alright. We got more rocks where that came from. Plenty of rocks in the mountains, and by the looks of it, plenty in the Badlands as well, with all of these things. What are these rock formations called? I know that there's a name for them. Somebody please enlighten me. Anyway, looks like the enemy is drawing closer to the range of the flame cannons, which means these guys are about to have a much worse time. Not that they were having a particularly good time so far, but it's about to get a lot more unpleasant. In fact, they've drawn into range, so these guys should be beginning to fire away. There they go. Alrighty, first flame cannons firing away, and man, the enemy still has a long way to go. This is a lot of distance to cover. I don't know if they're gonna reach the Drake fire guns. I guess we're gonna have to see. Also, devs, please, if you're listening, petition, please just add Drake fire pistols. Why don't we have Drake fire pistols? I remember that the in Vermintide, the Ironbreaker could use Drake fire pistols. Why not give us some Ironbreakers with Drake fire pistols then? Or give them to engineers. I just want more fire stuff. Not that the dwarfs aren't pretty great at it anyway. Anyway, the enemy continues to approach, but yeah, this is not going well for them. This is not the type of army that is going to be able to reach us, I think. And frankly, they would have still had to contend with the units of Iron Drakes firing away at them if the enemy army was going to draw closer, but it looks like it's not going to be able to do so. Most of their units are destroyed, and the Black Orc Big Boss, in a rage attempting to move towards us, is burnt. And trying to dodge those flames from the flame cannons, but they just keep on coming. Admittedly, they have a relatively limited ammunition compared to some other things, including some other artillery pieces, but we have 2 engineers in the army which will be able to restock them should the need arise. But it doesn't need to arise here in this particular army because the battle is pretty much done. The enemy Black Orc Big Boss will break, and just a few more units are attempting to cross this hellish flame storm, but will be unable to do so. And I believe, okay, they've got one more melee unit remaining, a couple of range units as well, but they're going to get hit with the flames similarly. Too bad they don't have that whole army stock that Skarsnik gives them. They really needed it. Well, I guess the as our Orc Arrow Boys, Night Goblin Archers would have had stock as they approached. Oh, I think the Night Goblin Archers got killed here because they were standing on top of the Orc Arrow Boys and just both decided to die. Anyway, with that, the enemy army breaks long before they reached us. Didn't even get to the Iron Drakes this time, but I admit it was a weak army. I was hoping that it would be enough to actually give us something of a fight, and maybe what I should have done is just turned off the flame cannons, but you know what? We can just do that next episode. Not a big deal. Still fun to see enemies burninated, I think. All right, I mean, I knew that wasn't going to go well for the AI, but I didn't think it would go that poorly for them and prevent our Drake guns from doing their thing with the rest of the enemy. But hey, with the rest of the army anyway. But glory to Jartrom and our latest iteration of the Dowie Fire Army. Anyway, decisive victory and obviously occupy the place. And I imagine that we are... Okay, we're already not collecting income here, which is fine. We'll build up. We got a lot of... You know, I'll build the resource buildings at least. They're relatively cheap to build, even if we don't invest in the other stuff yet. Although, it's probably not super expensive to just get the first levels of scrap mines up and running, even without anything else. Probably a good idea so that we can start collecting the income to some degree, and probably a few more places like this place where we can do that in order to get more trade goods flowing, even without the reductions. In fact, I think I'm going to call the episode here. There's a little bit more admin that I want to look into, as in to see if I missed anything, look through the buildings and stuff, see if there are any minor things to build for with the amount of money that we have, and just take a look at a few things like that post-Confederation might have been missed out on. Anyway, next time we continue moving southward, we'll probably start the battle off with this big old fight against the 2 and something stacks against this army, which might struggle a little bit in this particular situation simply because it lacks sufficient ammunition to make, well, use of all of these guys in range for too long. But not a horrible thing. Or we try to ambush this guy while we wait for the rest of the reinforcements and other units that need to be put in that army to arrive. We'll wipe out Skarsnik for good by taking Karaz-a-Karak and maybe even look to completing the all of 8 peaks here, as we are already very much on the way. Skarbrand has declared war on us, which means Grimbrindle will be headed south, and as soon as he swaps units with Grimly is going to head here to start fighting the Khornates and other factions nearby as well. Oh, you're gonna try to grab Nalfari Plain? By the looks of it, you will very much be able to do so, which ain't so great, but, yeah. I really wish Boris would try to push southward a little bit more, wipe out the Scaling, wipe out Throg, although I think we have one of our quests is on the Lair of the Troll King, among other things. One of the grudges. But anyway, Scarbia is on the menu, the other Khornates are on the menu, we have 1 Confederation under our belts, and then we'll be looking to do more shortly. Maybe Malachi next, since he only has the 1 settlement, so that might be a little bit easier. And we do have the 2 quests available to us currently to counteract the severe debuffs that we suffer. And it's not like Malachi's gonna recover from that, or at least I sincerely doubt it. Anyway, more dwarfs to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially the threshold for the longer episodes. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.